All right, guys, welcome to Press X Podcast episode 97. Thank you guys so much for being here with me and waiting patiently, as always, for the intro member credits to roll. Really appreciate it. We have a pretty, I'd say, exciting. I think exciting is a good word to use, although, you know, I don't want to oversell it or anything. It's not like things are going to be going crazy here, but we have certainly another interesting episode of the podcast because, as many of you are aware, Horizon Forbidden West launched on Friday. And I think that I don't want to say every single person here right now. I don't want to say every single person, but most of us have been playing it and have been enjoying it and finally experiencing this game that we waited very patiently for. And so, yeah, we are going to discuss quite a bit today over the course of this episode of the podcast. First and foremost, before we dive into any of the topics, I just kind of want to do, you know, my little, intro here, just to let everybody know ways you can help support the podcast. This is obviously applicable to not only those of you listening in live right now, but anybody who decides to watch the podcast later on. The simplest thing, as always, is just watch the content, interact with the content. It's, you know, here free for you. You can watch the podcast, you can watch the videos. If you want to go above and beyond watching all of the content in its entirety, if that's something that suits you, helps a lot as well. So like if you watch the entirety of the podcast, if you watch a video from start to finish, that really helps the channel, notifies YouTube that you guys are really enjoying the content and find it valuable. Another thing you can do is obviously hit the like button. Right now we're at 130 likes, which is awesome. We just started the show, so that lets YouTube's algorithm know that you guys are, you know, engaging positively with the content, and sometimes it puts it out there. And we have been growing the channel. We have been, at least I've noticed, we've seen quite an uptick in some new community members here hanging out with us during the podcast and watching the videos. So it's definitely working. It's definitely helping. Let me see. We have Ernest Jansen saying, scenario, your home is on fire and you have time to grab one game before it burns down. What do you grab? Family and pets have made it out safely. Well, thank you, Ernest, for making it clear that the most important things are already safe because, you know, obviously, if it's like, what do you choose, your family or a video game? It's like, how is that even a question? That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I mean, I guess I have to assume with the context of your question that this would be something that happens like now or very soon, and I can't really think of future games like God of War Ragnarok or others. So for what's out right now, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. Just one game. Well, I can't count any digital games I have. I see. I feel like your question was originally going to go towards, do you choose Elden Ring? Do you save Elden Ring or do you save Horizon Forbidden West? And that would have been a tough one. But I think the easy answer, and I know it's maybe an extremely unexciting answer, but right now, I would save Horizon Forbidden West because it's what I'm playing right now. And it's like, you know, but you know, I don't know. What if, am I the kind of like person I'm going to run out of my burning home with my physical copy of Horizon Forbidden West and be like, glad I saved that, completely forgot to take the PS5 out, you know? But yeah, for now it would be Horizon Forbidden West, but I would have said like a couple days ago, it would have been Sifu. Sifu's digital though, so. But thank you for that, buddy. That was an interesting question. One game, well, it'd be Horizon for now. If Horizon didn't come out, let me see. Physical games, I can only choose one. I'd probably take Demon Souls, honestly. I'd probably take Demon Souls. I know that seems also a little bit cliche, but Demon Souls is awesome. I could play that game over and over again. So, all right. Just to finish up here, other ways you can help support the channel, just like this individual did, you can donate a super chat. Super chats really help you guys show up in force every week. Every time we do a stream with super chats, that helps support my channel directly, helps support me directly, and it makes it so that the content here can flow uninterrupted. I do rely on you guys, and your direct support to make this channel a reality and to make the content that I produce on this channel. So you can do that. You can also become a channel member, which this individual just did. Kenneth A. Kramer, thank you so much, buddy. Joining the Play Has No Limits tier. Really appreciate that, man. Goes a long way. My channel members, you guys are awesome. You guys, as well as everybody who shows up here weekly, backbone of the podcast. Literally couldn't do what I do here without you. So thank you so much for that. And we have KD. What's going on, man? You're saying, what's up, MBG? Hope you're enjoying Horizon. No spoilers for me, but have you played the Death's Door mission yet? The story starts to get crazy from there. Well, I have not reached that point yet. I'm still very, very early in the game. I think I'm only about 2.5 hours in. I have not been able to dedicate as much time to playing Horizon as I thought I would, and that's mainly because I was so hyper fixated on making sure that I got the platinum for Sifu before I moved on to Horizon, because I knew that once I play Horizon, once I move on to it, there's no way I'm gonna make time for anything else, maybe other than Elden Ring, and I just wanted to make sure I got the platinum for Sifu, which I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. So I'm only a couple hours in. I haven't really gotten that deep into the game, but I'm certainly intrigued. I think I just reached the Forbidden West, so I'm definitely intrigued to see what happens story-wise. But yeah, we'll see, man. I'm definitely going to talk more about Horizon, and the story and what goes down and what happens, in the coming weeks as I make more progress. But I'll keep that in mind. Death's Door. I will know that when I start that mission, something significant is probably going to happen. So thank you for that. Yeah, so those are ways you can support the channel, guys. And I don't mean to sound like a broken record. I don't mean to sound so redundant on a weekly basis, but I do honestly need to just continue to express my thanks and my gratitude for, you guys on a weekly basis, making this podcast what it is, showing up in force, and, overall making it a good time in general. So thank you for that. MBG Digital Foundry just released a video about Cyberpunk. PS5 has a performance advantage of 5 to 10 frames per second, according to Tom Morgan. That's very interesting if true. That's actually quite significant. Like if you're talking up to 10 frames, a 10 frame advantage, that can be significant. Let me see, not to get tinfoil hat MBG, but PlayStation Twitter made a post about the 35th anniversary of Contra by Konami just now. Seems like the connections are coming back. Yeah, I don't know, man. We will definitely, one of the topics we are going to discuss throughout this episode of the podcast, definitely some conspiratorial ones. No, not about Blue Box, not about Abandoned. I have no clue what's going on with that game or if it's even real at this point. But we do have other things that are happening. And, people are weird, man. They get, I think they honestly get unreasonably upset sometimes with some of the things that I talk about and some of the things that I speculate. Like I see how people get like seemingly genuinely upset. Like if I'm like, oh, could Sony, is this a possible tease that Sony could be in the process of, acquiring the studio or talking about this or whatever? I don't know why people get so upset. Like, guys, it's just speculation, man. Like it doesn't have to mean anything to you. I'm just one person, but it is what it is. So let me see here. I'm going to look over my topics and I want to see which topic I want to discuss first. So obviously we have to talk about Horizon. Some people were telling me that they wanted me to definitely talk about the review bombing that's happening to Horizon or that has been happening. And we're definitely going to talk about that. And it's weird because the way people approach me with it, they're like, of course, you're only going to acknowledge review bombing for a game like Horizon and ignore everything else. Guys, I'm well aware. I know most of you listening know this, but I'm well aware that review bombing is not something new. It's certainly not something that is exclusive to PlayStation titles. It happens all the time. It happens pretty much everywhere. But at the same time, you know, I'm paying close attention to Horizon because it's a game that I'm particularly excited about. So obviously, when I see it being review bombed and this aggressively, yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit. We'll definitely talk about that. But something else I do want to make sure we do discuss over the course of this podcast, and this is critical in my opinion, because people are very excited for Horizon Forbidden West right now, and I am also very excited. And I'm going to let you know, how my personal experience, what it's been like so far with Horizon for the little I've played of it so far. But I do also want to acknowledge that some people are having some genuine issues with this game. And I don't want to ignore that. And I don't want to stray away from that because I do think it is important. And it also is something I'm paying close attention to, mainly because I'm so early in the game. I can't sit here and say that, I put 25 hours into Horizon Forbidden West and I've had zero issues with the game so far. I can't say that. I can only say that I put a few hours into Horizon Forbidden West and I've had minimal issues so far. And I've seen some people showing me some clips and some just some bugs and whatnot. And I'm starting to think that maybe Horizon Forbidden West, I think it may have come in a little bit hotter than maybe some of us were expecting. But I don't, I've seen it's hard to have these conversations because people become so hyperbolic about it. They're like, Horizon's completely broken. It's unplayable. It's a mess. And it's like, no, you guys are like, that's not, I can tell you right now that if there's one thing I think reviews are good for is that usually if a game is like that broken or that buggy and that unplayable, reviewers usually do a pretty good job in letting you know, like, yeah, it's pretty bad. You could look at Cyberpunk, but Cyberpunk's that's an interesting situation because the thing about it, the thing about Cyberpunk is CD Projekt Red only let them review it, I believe, on the PC. So like the best version of the game, and they actually wouldn't let people review it on console, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a little bit of a different situation. And that wasn't how, obviously Horizon was done. Horizon was done with PS5. I think most people reviewed it on PS5. I'm not sure that anybody really played it on PS4. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about some of these theories about what's going on right now with From Software, Bandai Namco, Sony potentially, I don't know, looking to acquire somebody or striking a partnership, so on and so forth. Something may be going on here. I want to talk about that, and I just kind of want to talk, honestly, about my excitement for Elden Ring as well. I want to talk about Sifu and the fact that I was able to platinum it because I didn't think I was going to platinum this game, guys. I got to tell you, like when I looked at the trophy list and I saw the requirement for specifically the Prodigal Son, I think that's the name of the trophy. I was like, there's no way I'm going to do that. It's not going to happen. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the announcement that's coming from Capcom tomorrow. We're going to talk about the Uncharted movie because apparently the Uncharted movie is a big success. Apparently it is a big success. Who would have thought? So we'll talk about that. We're also going to be talking about, hopefully, Cyberpunk on the PlayStation 5 because apparently this game needed way more time, obviously, to actually be finished and released fully functional on, pretty much the next gen or the current gen. I can't stop calling them next gen consoles, the current gen consoles. But yeah, so hit that like button for me, guys. We're going to dive into, well, you know what? I'll talk about Sifu and then Horizon because these are the games I'm playing. You're saying no one cares about your platinum, LOL. Well, it's not so much that I want to talk about, hey guys, I got the platinum trophy. I mean, I feel the need to brag about it a little bit, mainly because, I don't know, I'm proud of myself for achieving it, but I just want to talk about how my experience, maybe the difference in how I feel about a game like Sifu versus like from when I first started playing versus like how I feel about the game now that I've platinumed it and I've pretty much done everything in the game that I could possibly do. That's kind of what I want to focus on. So I guess you could say like my final review of Sifu, I guess is the best way to put it. Thank you for all the congratulations, by the way, guys. I appreciate that. Green Out Gill, you're saying, what do you think the Capcom announcement will be? That's what's tough. That's what's tough about it, because honestly, I think it's going to be Street Fighter 6. Almost all signs at this point are pointing to Street Fighter 6, and that makes the most sense to me. I know that there are quite a few people who are like, it's going to be Resident Evil 4 remake. I don't know about that. I do not think that Capcom announces Resident Evil 4 remake in this way. That's not to downplay Street Fighter 6, because Street Fighter 6 is a massive announcement in and of itself. And the big question that I think everybody has is it going to be exclusive? Is it going to be a PlayStation exclusive? And my answer is, I think it will be. I think the next Street Fighter that's announced, if that happens tomorrow, whether it happens tomorrow or not, I think it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't see why Sony would not pursue that once again, like they did with Street Fighter V, especially now that they own Evo and whatnot. It makes a lot of sense, I think, for Sony to try to lock that down. If it's not, you're saying rumors are saying it's not. Well, that's kind of weird if you think it. Well, it's not weird, but it's a little bit surprising, I think. I mean, it's not like it would be a bad thing if Street Fighter 6 was multi-plat. You're saying Capcom didn't like Street Fighter exclusivity. You could be right about that. You could be right about that, because if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly, one of the reasons why Street Fighter V was exclusive and the reason why Capcom was willing to strike that deal with Sony was because I think Capcom was kind of in a tough spot, and they really needed to use Sony's help. And Sony was like, yeah, we'll help you out. We'll help fund the game, but you got to make it exclusive. I think if I could be remembering incorrectly, but I'm pretty sure that's why. So, I'm just saying it's like, Street Fighter V was a PlayStation exclusive. I think it's just kind of natural to expect Street Fighter 6 to maybe also be exclusive, but I wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't. I would be a little bit surprised, but not shocked. And I think people would be happy about that in general. I don't think anybody would be upset if it was exclusive to PlayStation, but nonetheless, apparently that is what's going to happen tomorrow, the announcement of Street Fighter 6. Space D, you're saying this might revive the PS5's bad APU issues. Some people have a flawless experience, and others have basically a broken game. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. There hasn't been too much talk about there being serious issues with the PS5's APU. I mean, I remember there were a few games, like Returnal was one where it was just not working for some people, but it was really sporadic. There was no consistency, and other people it was fine. But outside of that, I don't recall there being many games that were like that. And I don't know that it's just a PS5 thing. One of the big issues I've been hearing people bring up, and I have experienced this myself in Horizon. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm not noticing it. There is quite a bit of pop-in. There is noticeable pop-in with Horizon Forbidden West playing on PlayStation 5. And I'm just wondering if people who are playing on PS4 Pro or PS4, if they are experiencing the same thing. Now, I want to make it clear that any pop-in I've been experiencing on Horizon Forbidden West, it's not severe. I've seen some video clips of some of the stuff that people are experiencing. I'm like, okay, I have not experienced anything to that level. But it's more like when it transitions with cutscenes. I've noticed anytime there's a transition to a new camera angle, there's a little bit of pop-in, and it happens extremely consistently. And so, this is one of those situations where I don't want to sit here and make it sound like, well, I'm having a little bit of pop-in with Horizon Forbidden West. It's not utter perfection, and so therefore the game is ruined, and it is garbage. Yeah, no, that's not a thing. But it is noticeable, and it's not ruining the experience, but I do see it. And so I'm just hoping that it doesn't get any worse. I'm hoping it doesn't again, I've seen some clips that people have shown me, and I'm like, I hope I don't experience any of that, because some of those clips were pretty bad, but again, it could just be isolated incidents. And I haven't seen a whole lot of people. You're saying MBG, no, game runs perfectly. Don't give Xbox fuel. Dude, I do not care what Xbox or Xbox fanboys. Dude, look, I'm here to be honest. I'm here to let you guys know what my experience has been. And I think people need to cool it with the hyperbole. Like, they really need to cool it with the hyperbole. If like somebody were to clip what I just said, and guys, please, back me up here if you get the chance to do so. If you see anybody clipping what I just said a moment ago about how, yeah, I've been experiencing some pop-in on Horizon Forbidden West, make sure you let them know, if they don't follow it up with what I'm saying now, that it's not ruining my experience. It's not making the game any less playable, and it's not making it any less enjoyable. It's still just as amazing as it otherwise would be. But I am noticing that one specific issue, and I'm just doing what I should be doing, what everybody should be doing, and just pointing it out. That way, so maybe Guerrilla Games can fix it. Because could you imagine if everybody lied? Well, not lied, but, if people were like, oh no, Horizon's perfect, and I haven't experienced anything bad at all, but meanwhile they're like experiencing pop-in. No, you gotta let them know what's going on so that way they can fix it, right? And so if it's like for me, I'm experiencing some pop-in with cutscene transitions. I hope they patch it. I hope they fix it, But it's, I've seen stuff where people are like falling through the world and they're having issues when they're climbing or free climbing. There's a bunch of bad stuff happening, and it's like, well, I haven't experienced any of that so far. I will be paying attention when I'm playing to see if anything like that were to happen. And obviously I'll report it to you guys if it does. But it could be that, Spacey, what you bring up. I don't want to dismiss anything. Somebody's asking, am I playing on resolution mode? I am. That's something else I'm going to talk about in just a moment. Chris B, you're saying, how do you now compare Sifu with Returnal? I'm going to be totally honest right now. I like Sifu more. Sifu is, as of right now, my game of the year. Now, I know some people are like, what? Keep in mind, I have not played Horizon Forbidden West yet in its entirety. I'm only a couple of hours in, and it's very early in the year. And I know for a fact that Sifu will not remain my game of the year. But, from the start of this year, that being January 1st, to right now, on February 20th, it is my personal game of the year. It wouldn't surprise me if by the time I'm finished Horizon, I feel differently. It wouldn't surprise me if by the time I'm finished Elden Ring, I feel differently. And there's a bunch of other games like God of War, Ragnarok, and others that are coming out before the end of this year that will, again, but what I will say is Sifu will absolutely be up there in my top 3, most likely top 3 or 5 when it comes to my personal game of the year picks or nominees. Sifu is incredible. All right, it really is. And I liked it better than Returnal, man. I did. I loved Returnal. Returnal was my game of the year last year, and it was amazing. But it's just that, for me, Sifu, my reason for liking Sifu better is simply down to I love the kung fu. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. I love martial arts movies. I've always been interested in martial arts, and I think that just that alone, considering we don't get games like that. It's not. Sifu is very much a game that I think people at first, they were like, bro, you're just hyping up Sifu because it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. I'm like, dude, believe me when I tell you that is the last reason why I am that has nothing to do with why I'm excited for Sifu. And I loved it, man. I loved it. Sifu is an incredible game, and I think Sifu and Returnal are right up there with one another. And that's why I say, I was excited to see that Sony acquired Housemarque not too long after they delivered Returnal. And I was like, that's awesome, dude. Returnal was an amazing game, an amazing experience. And I I was happy to see that Sony acquired them, knowing that we'll continue to get more of that. I feel the exact same way about Sifu and the developer Slowclap. I'm like, this game was awesome, dude. This game was friggin' awesome. I hope you acquire them and we can get more games like this, just with like bigger budget, more production value, you know? More refinement. It was awesome. So I know that may sound crazy to some people, like, wow, you like Sifu better than Returnal? I gotta be honest, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Man. Yeah, I do. I loved it that much. The fact that I platinumed it as quickly as I did should be a testament to just how addicted to that game I was. And I say was because I had to stop playing it so I could play Horizon. Darkborn, you're saying it could be Dragon's Dogma 2 or even that Deep Down game that never came out. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Deep Down. I'm going to go out on a limb, Darkborn, and say that Capcom's not going to re-announce Deep Down tomorrow. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that. But Dragon's Dogma 2, that would be an interesting one that I don't think anybody was expecting. You're saying also Monster Hunter World 2? That would be another big one. That would be See, I feel like Monster Hunter World 2, yeah, that would be huge, man. But I don't, again, that's like, for me, games like that and Resident Evil 4 Remake, I just don't see Capcom announcing on a whim. I don't. You're saying I still think Street Fighter 6 makes the most sense, though. Yeah, I'm sticking with Street Fighter 6. And I think it was Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb came out and said that it's going to be Street Fighter 6. And so, you know, he's pretty reliable with some stuff. So, you know, if he says it and that's what everybody's already thinking, then it's like, okay, yeah, it's probably going to be Street Fighter 6. So when he says Metal Gear Solid 6, I think you had the wrong publisher, man. PlayStation Pete, you're saying Grandmaster MBG of Sifu Kung Fu. It's an honor to be in your dojo. Thank you for that, man. Thank you for that. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, I feel like I have truly mastered that game. Yeah, it's awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you for that. Jay Pierce, you're saying, I got about 15 hours into Horizon Forbidden West and I didn't get any bugs on PS5 and I'm on resolution mode. I think a lot of people are trolling. I mean, there's no doubt that there's going to be people trolling. There's absolutely going to be people looking, you know, the ridiculous clowns out there, you know, people wearing clown outfits, basically trying to tear down a game like Horizon, just like they do any other game that's not, I don't know, something extremely specific to what they love. They're going to try to tear it down any way they can. So yeah, there's absolutely going to be people lying. There's going to be people exaggerating. And that's why I'm trying to cut through all that. And I don't care, you know, like I don't care about somebody who's like Horizon Forbidden West is a 2 out of 10. Like, okay, your opinion is literally completely irrelevant and nobody cares. Let's let the adults talk now about what's actually really good about it and maybe point out some of the genuine flaws that could potentially be there. That's called having a mature adult conversation. And it is absolutely possible. But, you know, maybe on the internet, it's a little bit more difficult. For sure. It's a little bit more difficult. So I believe you too, man. Like there are a lot of people who are saying that they've put plenty of hours into Horizon Forbidden West on PS5 and they haven't had any issues. And I believe that. I feel like I had a very similar situation happen to me with Days Gone, where I was there playing Days Gone at launch, you know, at launch day, putting hours into it. And people were telling me, they weren't just telling me, but it was all around where it's like, oh my God, this game's so buggy. It's too buggy, like it's broken. And I'm like 8 hours in there, I'm like, I haven't had a single issue. And so, you know, it's not that I didn't believe what people were saying about the issues that they were having because they were obviously real, but it's just like, you know, that's just how it is sometimes. That's kind of the nature of video games. You know, some people, they experience no issues whatsoever. And some people, for some reason, just get kind of unlucky. And it's like with their experience with the game, it's like they experienced some not so great, you know, problems, or some potentially serious problems. But yeah, you know. Let me see. Parasolo, you're saying, thanks for making my Sunday better. Love your podcast. Well, thank you so much for that, man. Thank you. I'm glad I can make your Sunday better. I love doing the podcast each week. And it always makes me feel good when I know that people are enjoying it just as much as I am. I enjoy doing the podcast. It's always nice to know that people are enjoying the content I provide here. PlayStation Pete, again, you're saying getting some red. You said, okay, all right. I had to read that in my head just to see where it was going. Okay, he says, getting some redhead redemption in Horizon Forbidden West. Okay, I see what you did there. What that does bring up, though, is there are quite a few people comparing a game like Horizon Forbidden West to Red Dead Redemption 2. And they're saying that Red Dead Redemption 2 is so ahead of its time. And it's like, look, I enjoy making comparisons. And I actually think that making a comparison between a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Horizon Forbidden West, that's pretty interesting. But I think we also just kind of have to acknowledge they're both different in many ways. You know, they're just in like there's similarities where they're open world story driven games, but then outside of that, there's like vast differences. You know, like some people look at Red Dead Redemption 2 and they're like, that game is too simulation like for me. It's too simmy, you know. There's literally an animation for every little thing, and they don't like that. And to them, that makes the game less in their mind. But to other people, they do love that, and it makes the game better. You know, and it's like, that's where, well, you look at Horizon, and it's like, well, people aren't really focused on that, that type of conversation. It's not so much about, well, Horizon and Red Dead Redemption 2 are both great games. Like, I don't know how else to put it. You know what I mean? Like, you can call them both masterpieces. I can't say that for Horizon Forbidden West just yet. I haven't completed it, but if somebody were to say, oh, I think both are great games, they're both masterpieces. I mean, I played Red Dead Redemption 2. I can agree with that. It's an amazing game. Certainly above most other games. But what I've played of Horizon so far and what I've been hearing about it, well, yeah, I think it's going to be the same for Horizon. But I just feel like people, they want to fight over everything, man. They want to argue and they want to fight over everything. It's like, well, Red Dead's better. Like, okay, dude, if you think Red Dead's better, then that's fine. No one can take that away from you, man. You know? Like, no one's saying you have to like Horizon. No one's saying you have to like Horizon. And no one's saying you have to like Red Dead. No one's putting it, well, hopefully no one's putting a gun to your head and saying you need to play this game even though you don't want to. KD, you're saying, take your time on this Sifu segment because Horizon will make you forget all about Sifu, LOL. The game is an absolute masterclass and hard to put down. Dude, I can tell that Horizon's going to be an addicting game because, again, I've only played it for a couple of hours, but I already am feeling it like pulling me in where it's like, okay, I have to now be careful because I do have other things to do in my life and I don't want to sit here for 8 hours straight, you know, completely. I mean, I do want to, but I can't, you know, and so I can already kind of feel it. But yeah, I don't think it's going to make me forget about Sifu, but I'm just saying, man, Sifu was like such an amazing way to start the year. It really was. Kenneth A. Kramer, thank you for the $1, buddy. And KD, again, you're saying not too many bugs in Horizon for me either. Xbots are down bad if they're review bombing and concern trolling. It's going to be very hard for God of War Ragnarok to top this game, an absolute 10 out of 10 game. Well, KD, dude, it sounds like this is possibly going to be your game of the year, man. It sounds like you're absolutely loving Horizon. And look, yeah, we're gonna have that conversation today, man. Don't worry. I know a lot of people have been bringing it up. We're gonna have that conversation about how, look, you know, there are a lot of people on the internet, whether they're on YouTube or whether they are on Twitter, where, you know, they spend their time focusing on other people's content. They spend their time highlighting the ridiculousness of how some PlayStation fans behave and how some PlayStation fans act. And, you know, they point it out and they laugh and they make fun and they take their shots. And honestly, most of the time it's like, yeah, you know, there are some pretty cringe takes out there. You know, I've been guilty of some cringe takes myself, you know, every now and again. But there are just some people where they take it too far. And yeah, I get that. Like, I get that you're going to do that. But we are now seeing some of the most ridiculous shit that I have seen in a long time. Coming from, I don't want to say the Xbox fan base because that's not fair, because I'm going to be honest right now, the majority of the Xbox fan base are just normal individuals who are enjoying games and they don't care. In fact, a lot of them are probably playing Horizon, are probably playing Horizon Forbidden West. A lot of them are probably playing Horizon Forbidden West, and that's great. And that's, there's no need to have a conversation about that. But, you get that small vocal minority. You get that small vocal minority where it's like, you're just seeing it everywhere, man. And and I get, like, it's expected. It's absolutely expected right now. But it's just like, how come these dudes, how come these people on Twitter or on YouTube or wherever, how come they're not going to make videos now about that? They're not going to highlight that. Maybe they are. Maybe they're in the process of doing that right now, and I hope they are. But I'm serious. It's like the people want to point out my hypocrisy at times, and I understand that. And I'm not going to run from that. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to pretend. I, like every other human being on the planet, will occasionally be hypocritical. It's human nature. But I feel like it's important to try to own up to it so that way you can try to avoid it. And then there are just some people where it's like, they just don't care, man. Like, it's not about what's fair. It's not about what's right. It's just simply about making fun of people. Shitting on people, laughing at somebody else's expense. And I get that. That's never going to change. I don't expect it to. But I'm going to call that out as well, because it's like, look, there's a lot of people right now with some horrifically bad takes, some horrifically cringe takes on a game like Horizon Forbidden West, and the excitement that the PlayStation fan base currently feels about it because they're excited to play it. And I see it pop up on my feed all the time of these people who, again, they spend their time and effort highlighting this stuff and, making fun of PlayStation fans and what they're saying. So I hope to see that same energy, right, put towards games like Crossfire, put towards the individuals who hyped up Crossfire, saying it was going to be such a great game just to see how it turned out. To put that same energy and that same spotlight on those right now who are literally having meltdowns because Horizon Forbidden West is out and they just can't stand to see it doing well. I hope to see the same energy put forth. You won't, though. You won't. Let me see. We have iSiler18. You're saying, I am very surprised with the side quests. It's literally Witcher 3 quality. The best kind of side quest. Still haven't made it to the Forbidden yet, though. LOL. Yeah, so maybe I'm confused, actually. Maybe I haven't made it to the Forbidden West yet. I think I just got that trophy where it says, it was the one where now I know that there are going to be a couple trees planted now because I unlocked the trophy thanks to PlayStation's, I don't know, they're with partnering with that. I forget what the name of the company is, but they're planting trees, basically. I made it to the Daunt, so I guess maybe I haven't actually made it to the Forbidden West yet. Okay, that makes more sense. Because I didn't want to... The thing is, I don't want to make it sound like I've made it to the Forbidden West, and then I've only... I just pretty much got out of the tutorial. Okay. I don't know how much longer it's going to take to get to the Forbidden West. For all I know, that takes like 5 or 6 or 7 hours, and I've not played that far yet. So I didn't want to confuse anybody. I was just confused myself. Let me see. So talking about side quests, I haven't played any of the side quests yet, but I'm looking forward to them. One of the things that I really loved from Ghost of Tsushima specifically, you mentioned The Witcher 3, but I'm also thinking of Ghost of Tsushima just because I played that not that long ago. I loved the side quests in Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm going to be interested to see if Horizon Forbidden West matches that. And it seems like, from what you're saying, iSolar, it does. And that's exciting to me because I think that one of the things that truly elevated Ghost of Tsushima is just how well done those side quests were and how much they actually elevated the entirety of the game. You're saying it will surpass them. Ooh, that's exciting. That's exciting, dude. I like that because I love having like, a main story, but the when you see like fully fleshed out side quests, it really adds a lot, I think, to a game, especially an open world game. So not just an open world game, any game. Having really, really well done side quests, I think, really elevates a game in general. So I'm looking forward to that. Let me see. Josh Z, a member for 23 months, almost 2 years, man. Play Has No Limits Plus. Thank you for that, dude. You're saying, hey, MBG, I did experience something odd with Forbidden West when I started playing during the cutscene where you first come across a recording. The sound of Aloy's armor while walking kept repeating continuously over the dialogue on PS5. Dude, that sounds like some kind of audio bug. That sucks, dude. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm trying not to be... I can't be, because again, I haven't experienced it myself, but I'm not going to be overly harsh on Guerrilla Games and Horizon Forbidden West. And I know why people are going to, you're just a PlayStation fanboy. You're not going to be hard on it. No, it's not because of that. It's because, dude, look at this game, man. Look at Horizon Forbidden West. All right, like, it does so many things good and well and that are just above average, in my opinion. And it's a massive open world game with density that is through the roof. I'm not expecting utter perfection, man. I'm not expecting utter perfection. You play even a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, where it's like people consider that the closest thing to an open world game perfected. You're still going to experience occasional bugs and hiccups. It's normal, man. Like that's what I'm trying to say. It's completely normal to have occasional bugs. And, I guess, Josh, I'll just have to ask you, like, did that ruin your experience, man? Is that making you want to play it less? Is that making it so it's like, well, you're done. You can't enjoy it. I doubt it. But there's like different degrees with these things, There are different degrees with these things. And based off of what I'm seeing mostly when it comes to some of the bugs and the issues with Horizon, I don't know if they're as bad as people are making it sound. Again, I'm gonna have to experience it myself, and I will be able to give a better opinion based off of my own personal experience, not just what people are telling me or showing me. Sir Holmes, you put a poop emoji and saying that is greater than Xbox games. Thank you for that, Sir Holmes. Sir Holmes he had to make it clear, He had to make everybody aware. I just want everybody to know that a pile of shit is greater than any Xbox game. Good one, man. Good one. Darkborn, you're saying, would you go back into Sifu if they added a Souls-like invasions for PvP and a couple of new levels for bosses? Also, how do you think it'd work out? Well, first off, absolutely, I would go back and play that. That sounds amazing. How do I think that would work? I have no do. I have no idea how they would do that, because the way Sifu is constructed, you could tell, like, having something like PvP or multiplayer was not something that was designed into the game. Like, the game was not designed around that. So I think that they confirmed there's not going to be any multiplayer, but they are going doo-doo, yeah. Yes, I know. It's so funny, everybody. I almost said doo-doo. See, it's Sir Holmes, man. He put that emoji. He sent me that super chat. Now I'm all messed up. I'm all kinds of messed up now. But I think that Slow Clap confirmed that they're not going to have any type of multiplayer, but they are going to be adding, I think, content. So and whatever that content is, I'm absolutely going to go play it. I wonder if that content is going to be more difficult than the final boss. That's what I want to know. Got to use the restroom, MBG. Luckily, I don't. So, yeah, Darkborn, even though I don't think that's going to happen, I would absolutely go back for that. Siler18 again, you're saying, remember when Halo was getting review bombed? Videos everywhere. Horizon getting super bombed. Complete silence. Yeah, you know what? we'll talk about that for a minute. We'll talk about the review bombing in just a second, because I do have something I want to say about that. Mike McCarthy 88, thank you for the $1. KD again, buddy, you're saying the Daunt is still the prologue area. You can spend 20 hours in the game before even getting to the Forbidden West. The main path is like 3 to 4 hours though. Really? I didn't realize that. Okay. So I have quite a ways to go before I actually get to the Forbidden West. I'm glad that I cleared that up. Because you guys are probably like, dude, this dude's saying he's in the Forbidden West, but he's only put like 2 hours into it. That's not possible. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Josh, you're saying MBG, I'm drowning in games. Why can't one be bad? Yeah, dude, I'm so scared. I'm so scared about Elden Ring coming out. Did you guys see on the official PlayStation YouTube channel, they put out the official Elden Ring overview? It was like a 6-minute video, and it's already at almost 500,000 views. And it's just like, dude, I'm so scared. It looks so good. I'm like, how am I supposed to play this in Horizon, man? It looks so, these games are so incredible. Why couldn't it be like a 2-week separation? Why not a 2-week separation? I'm so hyped for Elden Ring, bro. Elden Ring, guys, I'm just saying it right now. Don't be surprised if Elden Ring is my game of the year. Don't be surprised if by the end of the year I'm like, yo, God of War Ragnarok was fantastic. Horizon Forbidden West, incredible, but I got to give it to Elden Ring. I'm just saying, man, Elden Ring looks, God, this is what, dude, I will continue to say it, and I don't care if it upsets people. I'm going to continue to say it. From Software is a studio that I feel like should be part of PlayStation Studios. They are so fucking good. They're so good. They are masters. Masterclass development. I'm not saying it's because I would want Elden Ring to be exclusive, but I'm just saying that, like, From Software is like one of the most talented studios in the world, dude. Like, probably top 3 easily. They should be part of PlayStation Studios. They should be part of that inner circle, I think. I see people who are like, everybody's overhyping Elden Ring. I'm like, I can't, dude, I couldn't overhype the game if I tried, man. I couldn't overhype the game if I tried. When I see that game, I'm like, this looks just incredible. It just looks incredible. I believe it will be incredible. So yeah, I don't know how I'm going to balance these games, dude. I really don't. So I feel your pain, Josh. Starscreams3117 says, wanted to stop by to support my favorite YouTuber. Well, thank you so much, dude. I hope you have a good stream. The platinum for Sifu was so satisfying, and now enjoying Horizon Forbidden West. Amazing game. Well, we're pretty much on the same page, Starscreams. That's exactly what I'm doing. But channel, and even if you can't watch live, appreciate that. My cat wants to jump up again. Come on. Just come up. You know, everybody wants to see you. Come on. Psst. Come on. She will. Maybe you'll see. You're saying, MBG, let's talk about the acquisition topic. We'll get there. Come on. She's being all shy now. She's being shy. She'll jump up. Just give it a second. She'll jump up. But thank you for that, Starscream. Josh, again, you're saying, also, happy Sunday, MBG. Bless you and your family with good fortune and good health. I hope your son grows up and makes you proud. Also, Xbox. Thank you for that, Josh. Thank you. Yeah, you got to make sure, always, no matter how sentimental it gets, also Xbox. No, thank you so much for that, man. My son's doing great. I think he's got a little bit of a cold right now. Saying my mic is out? I don't think so, man. No sound. Is there no sound? Hold on, let me, All right, it should be fixed now. So I don't know why that happened. That happens occasionally. My software, my audio software just like closes. It's always running in the background, and sometimes it'll just close. And so thank you for pointing that out. I don't know why that happens, but it seems to be fixed now. So, but yeah, Josh, thank you for that, man. My family's doing well. My son's doing good. He's in good health. So I appreciate that so much. And also, yes, Xbox. Quantum, you're saying I managed to order a PS5 from PlayStation Direct on Thursday. Supposed to get here tomorrow. Can't wait to upgrade my Forbidden West to PS5 and play on my Sony OLED. Hope all is well with you. Well, thank you. All is well. Appreciate that. And that's awesome, dude. That's awesome, Quantum. I'm glad you're going to be able to enjoy a PS5. I'm sure you're going to see. What am I screaming into? Sorry, guys. Am I too close to the mic? I didn't mean to hurt anybody's ears. I apologize. But yeah, I'm sure you're going to see a massive upgrade because Horizon Forbidden West looks very good on PS4 Pro, but I don't know, man. I've been playing Forbidden West in the resolution mode on PS5, and oh man, dude, it's looking real good. It's looking real good. But I have a bit. It's not a rant, but I have something I have to say. Absolutely. My cat decided to shun me. I don't know why. Any other time she'll try to jump on my lap when I'm doing work or something, and I'm like, I can't. You got to go. But the one time I'm like, all right, come on, come up to my, come sit on my lap. It's cool. She's like, nah. And she wants out. I may have to go let her out of the room. But yeah, that's how that goes, right? But yeah, I'm so happy to hear that you got a PS5. I think a lot of people maybe who became kind of relaxed. Like I think there were a lot of people who were trying really hard to get a PS5. They weren't able to. They struggled. And then maybe now that Horizon Forbidden West has dropped, like it kind of lit a bit of a fire under their ass again. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna go get a PS5. I need to get a PS5 to play this game. So it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. If a lot of people were doing that. But yeah, Horizon looks incredible, dude. I see somebody saying, MBG, thoughts on Perfect Dark being a game as a service and games like Fable being next? I mean, honestly, my thoughts on that, I talked about this, I think, last week, where I was like, look, it seems really strange to me that a game like Perfect Dark is going to come back and then be a game as a service. Look, I don't know how Xbox fans feel about Perfect Dark. I'm not really into Perfect Dark. I never really was. But it just sounds bizarre to me that they're going to make it a game as a service. And it would be really... Dude, I'm telling you now, I don't think players would be happy at all. I could be wrong, but I don't think people would be very happy if they found out, like if... I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but if Fable was going to be a game as a service, I don't think... Well, you know what? I don't know, man. Xbox fans these days, I don't know. Xbox fans don't... At least the crazy Xbox fans that I see that come to my channel, well, maybe not my channel, but mainly on Twitter, apparently they don't care about single player games. I don't know. I'm just saying, man, like they have so much shit to talk when it comes to the single player games that Sony puts out. Maybe they would prefer, at least some of them would maybe prefer a game as a service Fable game. I don't know. If there's any Xbox fans in my chat right now, let me know, how would you feel? Or Fable fans, not even just Xbox fans, Fable fans, how would you feel if Microsoft, or even Perfect Dark, how would you guys feel if they went game as a service? Because I think that's kind of weird. MBG starting shit. I'm just saying, man. I see it. I see it. I seen it. Saying Uncharted was a fun movie, Milo. I'll probably have to go see it. MBG rumor, take it with a huge pinch of salt. Apparently, Sony Pictures might acquire Warner Media. That includes Warner Games and Movies. Again, take it with you. Where's this coming from, Aaron? Is this just coming from you? Is this just coming from you? Somebody says they'll believe it when they see it. Indiana Jones game as a service. That would be comical, dude. I would actually love to see that. Is Perfect Dark an Xbox exclusive? It is. Somebody says I can't get behind Nathan Drake. Or Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. I don't know, man. Imagine Insomniac doing a Marvel games and a DC game. Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Okay, let me see here. Space D, you're saying PlayStation fans normalizing bugs is the best scenario possible for Bethesda Starfield. Dude, yeah, I can't argue with that, Space D. That is true. Look, come on. We know that Starfield's going to be buggy. We know it's going to be buggy. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, "Oh my god, like when Starfield drops, I'm not going to be like, "Look at that, everybody. It's buggy." It's like, yeah, and water's wet. Like it's going to happen. I think it's just a little bit less expected for a game like Horizon because, let's be honest. This is one thing that Sony prides themselves on, and one thing that Sony fans always kind of talk about as well with PlayStation's games is they're usually extremely refined. And so anytime there are those occasions where it's like, okay, maybe it's just a little bit more buggy, maybe it came in a little bit hot, not broken or anything like that, just a little bit more hot than maybe some people were expecting, then yeah, it's gonna seem worse. Everyone's gonna put a magnifying glass on it. And to be fair, with a game like Starfield, not only does Bethesda already kind of have, I don't want to say Bethesda has a pass, but I mean, they kind of do. They kind of do when it comes to bugs. They kind of, with their big RPGs, they have a little bit of a pass, and that's fine. They've earned it. But I do think that it will be greatly helped this time by Game Pass. Like when Starfield comes out, it's going to launch into Game Pass, and it's like, even if it's super buggy, it's like, well, dude, it's on Game Pass. So it's like, well, yeah, you can't really argue that. You know what I mean? Like I just pay $10 and play it. There's going to be some bugs. And that's also another reason why we are going to be a little bit more overly critical for a game like Horizon, because Horizon Forbidden West, it's a AAA full price game. The bugs have to be limited. Absolutely. That goes for all of Sony's games. It's just like when I talk about, well, one of the things I do expect as a paying customer that supports what PlayStation does is if you want 70, 60, whatever, we'll just say $70 out of me. Yeah, I mean, I can tolerate a few bugs here and there. No big deal. Just like I am with Horizon, just a little bit of pop-in. Really not a big deal. But if I put like 10 hours in the Horizon, I'm like, guys, I'm like teleporting everywhere. I'm falling through the map. Shit's just glitching out everywhere. We'll have a problem because I paid full price for the game. I'm not expecting that to happen. But yeah, I definitely we'll hold Sony and their studios accountable for that. But yeah, that is a good point, Space D. Joshua Reese, you're saying MBG's Xbox podcast every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, that'll be my second podcast, the Xbox podcast. Oh, that's funny, dude. PlayStation Pete, you're saying my 4 games of 2022 are Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, God of War Ragnarok, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. Dude, I totally forgot that apparently Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 is supposed to come out at the end of this year. Totally forgot about that. That's going to be an amazing game as well, dude. I'm looking forward to that. I want to see this tweet that everybody's talking about. So 57 minutes ago, PlayStation tweets out, congratulations to Konami on Contra's 35th anniversary, leveraging this celebratory post to also confirm Spreadshot is unrivaled. I'm going to... First comment, buy Konami and make Silent Hill ASAP. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. You should... I'm just going to reply live. You should buy... I'm not going to say Konami's IP. You should buy Konami's IP. There you go. That's what I'm going to say, guys. Because I don't really know what exactly... a lot of people were saying, dude, if Sony were to buy Konami, they're going to get everything else that Konami has that Sony probably has no interest in, like their gyms and their pachinko machines. And I guess maybe that could be profitable for them, but I don't care about any of that. So just buy their IP, that would be fine. But yeah, PlayStation Pete, that's a pretty good lineup, bro. It just goes to show how strong the lineup is for PlayStation this year. Let me see. We have Josh again, buddy. You're saying I'm blasting Horizon Forbidden West on my PS5 comboed with Sony Bravia A80 OLED with 3D audio headphones. For the father of everything that is holy, this is it. Yeah, dude. I know, man. I know. I streamed myself playing Horizon for just a little bit, but I wasn't enjoying it. Like this these games I just had to experience on my own, man. Like, I don't want to be streaming. I don't want to be talking to anybody, not trying to come off rude or anything. It's just like, I got to get into it. And yeah, it's just it's on another level when you have these types of combos and setups, man. It really, you're saying this is it. I agree, man. Let me see. Siler18, you're saying, did you age 25 years in real life after you got that trophy for Sifu? I did. Dude, I got white and gray beard hairs growing down here, man. I absolutely aged me. It absolutely aged me in real life. For sure. Mitul Patel says, great podcast as always. I'm excited for Elden Ring. I'm excited for Elden Ring too, man. Got to show that love for Elden Ring, bro. Absolutely. Thank you for that, though, man. Thank you. So yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what we'll see what happens when it comes to Sony and acquisitions. Like, dude, as excited and immersed as I am with Horizon, I can't help but wonder what Sony's going to do next acquisition-wise, which we'll talk about because some people want me to talk about those rumors. But before I do, let me see. All right, so we've been mostly talking about Horizon. So there was something I wanted to say, and I want to make sure I talk about this extensively, or as extensively as I plan to. We've been talking about the visual aspect of Horizon, okay? And there's a few things I want to say. There's a few things I want to say about the visual side of Horizon. All right? Well, first of all, I want to highlight how Guerrilla Games has truly, in my opinion, outdone themselves with the overall presentation and especially with the facial animations and just how amazing the characters look. Not just Aloy, but pretty much the side characters as well. Like, it looks so good. Very, very good. It looks excellent. And I think that it's easily, I think to me, it's the biggest standout improvement. Like, wow, this is like a night and day difference compared to Horizon Zero Dawn to Horizon Forbidden West. So I just want to say that. Absolutely the thing that stands out the most to me. But I also want to talk about just how on a visual level with Horizon, the density of the game is impressive to me. The density of the game when I'm going through environments and I'm just like stopping occasionally and I'm looking around and I'm just looking at how dense the environments are, everything that's going on at one time, and I'm like, this is good. This is very good. Like you can tell. You can tell. Like it's easy to miss it, I think, because you just take advantage of it. Like it's just there and you just, oh yeah, it's great. But when you like stop and you're like really looking at it and taking it in, you're like, okay, a lot of care was taken here. Like every inch, of this map is just completely filled up to the brim with stuff, going on and happening. And it's very good. Very good. Josh, you're saying if Sony gets their hands on the Nemesis system, just saying, yeah, dude, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. MBG, are you high on Redfall or nah? I have to see it first, man. I have to see gameplay. Then I'll let you know. But yeah, Horizon Forbidden West, the density of it, the overall look, it's truly impressive. It is. But here's a thought that I was left with after going back and forth with performance mode and resolution mode. So I was shifting between them because they let some games, when you want to switch between a resolution mode or a performance mode, they require you to like reboot the game. Luckily for Horizon, you don't. You can just do it on the fly. And it's so tough, dude. It's so tough. And here's the point I'm trying to get at. I always do this. I'm doing this a lot. Emphasizing. Here's the point I'm trying to get at. All right, just gonna keep doing that. If there is any game that I played thus far that makes me yearn for a PS5 Pro, It is this game, Horizon Forbidden West. Now, it could be simply because it's a cross-gen game, and it was originally developed on the PS4. Okay, it was not developed from the ground up on the PS5. It was originally a PS4 game. But this game, more than any other game I played from Sony, that had I want a PS5 Pro, because when I look at the resolution mode, I'm like, this looks fucking incredible. It looks incredible. Native 4K, the amount of detail. And then when you start moving, and then it's at 30 FPS. And then it's at 30 FPS, and you're like, oh, God, it hurts. It hurts. It doesn't hurt, but it's tough, man. And then when you go to performance mode, and I'm like, oh man, dude, that 60 FPS goodness. But dude, I don't care what anybody says. It's just my opinion, but I don't care what anybody says. I see both right in front of me. I sit I think 5 to 6 feet away from my TV, and it's 55 inches. Dude, the hit that is this game takes in performance mode visually, I can't do it. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts, and it just makes me realize that this is why I want a PS5 Pro, because I want that native 4K and all of that extra graphical detail that is removed in performance mode, not just from resolution purely. There are other effects, I think, that are toned down. I want that at 60 FPS, man. Because every time I play in performance mode, after seeing what it looks like at its best in resolution mode, when I'm playing it at 60 FPS, while I am so grateful for the smoothness of it, I can't stop focusing on how downgraded the visuals look compared. And maybe, look, everybody's different. There are a lot of people who say that they don't notice, and I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying everybody's different. So for some people, they genuinely might not see a difference at all. Maybe it does depend on how far you sit from your TV and whatnot. But as somebody who sits about 5 to 6 feet away from my TV, sometimes even closer than that if I'm leaning forward, I can see it. I can very much see the difference. And you're saying that SSD, though. Well, I mean, look, the PS5 is an amazing piece of hardware. And trust me, we have not seen what the PS5 is fully capable of yet, but it has its limitations. And I feel like this is where, again, I would just love to know, is what we're seeing with Horizon's performance mode due to a technical limitation? Is it due to a technical limitation like this? We simply can't run a game as big and as dense as Horizon Forbidden West, at 4K, at like a 4K resolution at 60 FPS, right? We have to make these compromises. Is that a technical limitation, or is that a cross-gen limitation? You're saying it is absolutely technical? That's what I think too. And so somebody says it's cross-gen. Well, I think we'll find out. Because you know what game? I mean, I don't know, man. I played Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that had a performance mode, and I don't know, man. The game looked a lot sharper. Like Insomniac Games' performance mode on Miles Morales looked way sharper than Horizon's. But again, this is where it's like, it is does it look this way? Does it look this way because sorry, I got a little distracted there. Because there's just way more going on in Horizon? Is the density of Horizon the reason? Is Horizon on a does it have a lot more going on than Spider-Man Miles Morales does? These are the questions that I can't answer them because I don't know. I mean, Insomniac is top tier, right? So it's like, when I look at the world of Spider-Man Miles Morales, it looks pretty dense to me. There's a lot going on. It's a city. They're replicating a city. There's a lot going on, and it looks really, really good. You know, it looks really sharp. But this is where I don't have the technical know-how, and I don't know, I'm not a game developer. I don't know if it's like, well, what they're doing in Horizon is very different and it's more taxing and more demanding. I don't know. But what I will say is that I now understand completely why Digital Foundry recommended playing in the resolution mode. And I am playing in the resolution mode. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't like 30 frames per second. And it is so hard to readjust to it. I don't like it. But when it comes to what matters more to me when it comes to next gen with a lot of Sony's games is, I'm not going to front. I'm not going to pretend like the visuals and the graphics don't matter to me. It absolutely does matter to me. It does. It's just that for most games, I haven't seen a big difference, a big contrast between the fidelity modes and the performance modes. I played Demon Souls in performance. I played Spider-Man Miles Morales in performance. While Returnal, that was at 60 FPS. I played Ratchet and Clank in its performance mode. And so these games, playing them, I never really felt like, they don't look sharp enough. They don't look good enough, And Horizon, I hate to say it, is the first one where I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm noticing this. Like, I'm having trouble. Like, I notice the imperfections here, and I'd rather play in the resolution mode. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. I see some people saying that there's like Horizon Forbidden West performance mode is like bugged out or something. I see somebody saying there's no big difference, just enjoy. Well, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm not trying to come off as like I'm whining about it. Like, look, you have the choice, right? I'm not sitting here shaking my fist at Gorilla like, how dare you make this performance mode not perfection in my eyes. I'm not harping. I'm not harping on Guerrilla Games. I'm sure that they're pushing it as far as they could. If anything, it just makes me realize that, a PS5 Pro a couple of years from now might be totally necessary. Because I always said that, how could Sony market a PS5 Pro? To me, it's easy. All those times you boot up a game on your PS5 and you got to choose, do you want resolution mode, fidelity mode, ray tracing mode, performance mode? You don't have to choose anymore. Now you just get it all in one mode. That's how you market a PS5 Pro, in my opinion. And that's what I want right now. That's what I want right now. So yeah, I just, that's what I hope we get in the future. But I think a game that will be a good test is, let me think here. God of War Ragnarok, I'm not really going to be paying too much attention to the performance versus the resolution mode, because that's more of a linear game. But Spider-Man 2 is being developed from, unless it changes, I just want to make it known it could change. But as of right now, it's a PlayStation 5 only game. Okay? It's a PlayStation 5 only game. And so it's coming from Insomniac, one of Sony's most talented development teams. And if, this game seems like it's going to be one of the first games to really flex what the PS5 can do visually. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think Spider-Man 2 is absolutely going to be like the first game where it's like, holy shit, this is what they can do on a PS5 game. I feel like we got a glimpse into it with Ratchet and Clank for sure, but I just have, if there's any game that Sony wants to flex on the PS5, oh yeah, it's going to be Spider-Man 2. And so, I'm almost wondering, like, would they need a performance mode? Could they make the resolution so high and so crisp and maintain that 60 FPS? I don't know. I'm sure there will be a performance mode in Spider-Man 2, but, because it's going to be a PS5 only game, I'm going to want to see, since it won't be cross-gen, how is this game looking in performance mode versus the fidelity mode? That's what I want to know. Because I'll tell you right now, Demon Souls is a PS5 only game. It may be a remake, but Demon Souls, I think, is a good example of this game wasn't cross-gen. And when I tell you, when I switch between the fidelity mode and the performance mode, there is a slight difference, and you can see it, but it's very slight, like to the point where now that is barely noticeable. And that's not a cross-gen game. But it's also not an open world game. It's a PS3 remake. So again, You can't really make that comparison. That's why I'm focusing on Spider-Man 2. That is a big open world game. Okay, let me see. Aaron Yogurt, you're saying, bro, I'm staring at my 1080p TV up close and I can't see the pixels. Horizon Forbidden West is that good. I mean, dude, it still looks good. I'm not, and a lot of people are like saying, like, dude, performance mode looks good. I'm not saying it doesn't look good. I'm just saying when I'm comparing the two, I can't unsee it. That's all I'm saying. When I'm seeing the resolution mode, I can't unsee it. JDTV, a member for 10 months. Play has no limits. Thank you, man. You're saying, my experience with Horizon Forbidden West so far is great. Everything is amazing except the performance mode. The image is extremely blurry and noisy in some situations. Guerrilla is looking into the issue, it seems. And I'm going to be super interested to see if they correct it. Because, again, like, I'm with you, JDTV. I see this too. It looks noisy, man. Like, you can see it. You can visually see it. I think people are calling it like a shimmering. I guess I could see it as like a shimmering. And so if it really is like a technical bug that needs to be ironed out and then they do it and it's like, wow, it makes all the difference in the world. It looks way better now that they fixed it, then we'll be having a completely different conversation. Because I do find it interesting that this is the first time after over a year with the PS5 and playing plenty of games on PS5 that this is the first time I am not impressed with a performance mode. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's some kind of bug or something. You're saying resolution mode moves like my TV threw up. Yeah, dude, it's so tough. So tough. Josh, again, you're saying, yeah, you're right. I tried to give 30 FPS a shot because it was noticeably better looking, but gave me a headache, so I had to go back to 60. Yeah, dude, it's the thing about playing games at 30 FPS, what I've learned is that you need to make sure that your eyes don't see 60 FPS for a very long time. If your eyes don't see 60 FPS for a very long time, then 30 FPS seems pretty okay. Like, this is normal. But when you see that 60 FPS, your eyes cannot unsee it, bro. And when you go back to 30, it really does look like a damn slideshow. I hate to say that, but you can see the frames that are missing. You can. And it takes time for your eyes to readjust. So, this is why I feel like I want a PS5 Pro. So, all in all, I guess we'll kind of segue here a little bit. Timothy, thank you so much for helping me segue. You say, did you see Horizon Forbidden West getting review bombed? Absolutely, I did, bro. And I want to make something abundantly clear. Okay? I want to make something. Ooh, wait, what is this? Is that ready? Is that actually Ready at Dawn? What is this? Hold on. Ready at Dawn tweets out 1 hour ago, we released the Order 1886 with our friends Sony Santa Monica 7 years ago today. Guys, I gotta retweet this. Would absolutely love to eventually get a sequel. This game had so much potential. I had to sorry guys, I had to do that live. I had to, because dude, the Order 1886, I was wearing my Order 1886 shirt the other day. We need that. We need a sequel, bro. It wasn't a perfect game, but there was so much potential for that world. You guys know how I feel about the Order 1886. But we are going to talk about the review bombing. Okay, the review bombing of Horizon, and there's something very important that I have to say before I get into it, because I want to make it abundantly clear. First, Steady Flow, you're saying if you're going to promise no compromises with your games, why not make the next generation PlayStation 6 instead of PlayStation 5 Pro? The PlayStation 5 Pro seems like a waste of making. Like, basically, it's no. I mean, And that's the big question, Steady Flow. That's the big question that I think Sony will have to ask themselves, and everybody will have to ask themselves, like, if you make a PS5 Pro, then what the hell is going to be the PS6? That is above my pay grade, bro. I don't work for Sony. If I did work for Sony and it was my job and I was being paid to figure that out, I'd be putting a lot more thought into it. But frankly, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe the PS5 Pro will actually be a PlayStation 6. Who knows? Who knows at this point? MBG, easy, more storage. True. I see somebody saying Putin ordered more troops into Ukraine. Might not be playing much if this all kicks off. Damn, dude. I'm assuming that's where you are right now. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. I hope the shit doesn't hit the fan, bro. I really hope not. For everybody's sake, including yours. So that's unfortunate, bro. We'll have to keep an eye out. Stay safe, man. Stay safe. All right, so here's... Okay, every time I'm about to say something, not that I'm complaining, bro. Guys, the super chats are awesome. Super chats are awesome, and they keep the podcast afloat, man. Guerrilla Games Twitter says to restart the game twice to remove shimmering. I'll have to try that. That's a weird fix. JDTV, you're saying, I asked Sony for a refund on Battlefield 2042 after 100 hours of playtime. They replied they're looking into this whole situation and will let me know. Battlefield 2042. Goddamn. DICE, EA. Talk about ruining something. Absolutely ruining something. I got Henry 3K saying, I am playing Horizon at 30 FPS and I'm fine with it. I rate the game a 9.5 out of 10 amazing. Yeah, well, that's the thing, man. Like, I know maybe I'm being a bit hyperbolic myself. It's difficult to readjust the 30 frames per second, but I don't want to make it sound like it's unplayable. For some people, they genuinely feel like they can't do it anymore, and I get that, but it's not like it's, it is playable for sure. But some people prefer 30 FPS, believe it or not, which I think is interesting. I don't prefer 30 FPS, but okay. All right. What I want to say before talking about the review bombing, let's make a few things known. Horizon Forbidden West is not the only game that has been review bombed. In fact, almost all games, including Xbox games, get review bombed. All right, so it's not like what I'm about to say is just exclusive to Horizon. It's not just exclusive to PlayStation. It's something we see all around, and it's just as stupid. Whether you're review bombing Halo Infinite and giving Halo Infinite a 0 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10, it's just as stupid as giving a game like Horizon Forbidden West a 0, 2, 3 out of 10 and basically saying this game sucks and I hate it. It's stupid. It doesn't matter what game you're doing it to. It doesn't matter. Review bombing is stupid, and frankly, I don't care about it. Sorry, I just bumped my desk. I don't care about it, but it does, I think it is worth kind of paying attention to sometimes, because it's like, for me, what it shows, and I'm just going to have to highlight it, all right? I'm just going to have to highlight it here. As I said, there are a vocal minority of radical Xbox fanboys, and there are a vocal minority of radical PlayStation fanboys. The same can be said for Nintendo, PC, whatever. But in this specific circumstance, we're seeing a certain group of people get together, and they want to tear down Horizon Forbidden West. And we saw the same thing happen with Halo Infinite, guys. All right. We can't sit here and pretend that, well, I mean, look, they want to take down Horizon. Come on. There were just as many people who wanted to take down a game like Halo Infinite, because let's just call a spade here. These radical fans on both sides, they're doing what they do because they don't want to see the other side succeed. There were people who were genuinely upset that Halo Infinite was reviewing well. And there are people who are genuinely upset that Horizon Forbidden West is reviewing well. And all I can say in regards to all of these people is you're all clowns. Anybody who is behaving this way, anybody who's making it sound like a game can't succeed and people can't like a game, just get over it, man. Just get over it. Because believe me, I played those games before and it's stupid. It's stupid. It's pointless. And all it really does is point out how you're not actually enjoying games. You know? Like, that's the biggest thing. It points out that you're not enjoying games, man. You're spending more time and energy focusing on something you claim to not like, to not care about, than you are actually just spending time and energy on the things you do like and you do care about. And I get it. Sometimes when you're passionate about something, it can come off that way, but they do care. That's the point, man. Anybody who's taking time out of their life to review bomb Halo Infinite cares inherently about Halo Infinite. Anybody who's taking time out of their life to review bomb Horizon Forbidden West cares inherently about it. Because if you didn't, it wouldn't be taking up any space in your head whatsoever. That's how these things work. When you don't care about something, it doesn't take up any space. And this is why people point out to me all the time, like, well, bro, you're talking about Xbox. It's because, believe it or not, some part of me does care about Xbox. I want to see Xbox do things that I want to see them do. They might not always, and they're really not these days, but I'm caring less and less about it, truthfully, because they're just not interesting me. But there's still hope there, right? There's still hope there. This guy says, holy shit, we talking about Xbox again? Well, dude, it's to help me make a point about how review bombing is stupid all around. You know, whether you're, you know, like I feel like if you really want to do, it doesn't really make much sense. I'll put it to you this way. When there are valid criticisms for a game, those valid criticisms will do 10 times more damage to that game and that studio's reputation or whatever it is that you're not happy about. Those valid criticisms will weigh so much more than these pathetic, sad attempts of just trying to tear something down. You know? And if there's one thing that I've learned over the years is that there are people who can have mature conversations. There are people who can give valid criticisms. There are people who can, like, truthfully weigh the pros and the cons. And then there are people who are just looking for conflict and just looking to, you know, sling shit back and forth. And when you can identify the difference between those individuals, you know, it becomes much easier to navigate this type of stuff because, you know, it's like, again, just kind of looking at Halo Infinite. I'm just using Halo Infinite because it's, you know what? Let's use Crossfire X since that just dropped into Xbox Game Pass. Now, Crossfire X is not a Microsoft first-party title, and I'm not making a comparison between Horizon Forbidden West and Crossfire. You can't. There's no comparison to be made. They're completely different games. But what I do want to highlight is that both of these games dropped at around the same time. One is exclusive to Xbox, the Xbox console. The other is exclusive to PlayStation consoles. And if you look at Metacritic, okay, you can clearly see across the board that Crossfire X is a bad game. It's so bad that even the most hardcore Xbox loyal, even the ones that aren't rational, can turn around and be like, yeah, that shit's pretty bad, you know? Because it's just that bad, right? But I want you to think about this. they're looking at a game like Crossfire X and they're trying it out. They're looking at the reviews. They're listening to what people are saying about it. And they're like, this is like one of the worst games ever. Like, it's like one of the worst games I've ever played. Like, that's actually how people are talking about it. And then they're turning around and being like, yeah, that game, yeah, that game sucks. But then they're turning around, some of them, not all of them, but some of them, and they're saying the same thing about Horizon. And I'm like, bro, what are you smoking? Well, you already know what they're smoking. You already know what they're smoking. They're not here to have a rational conversation. They're not here to make valid criticism. And so it's just, I don't know. I just kind of feel like at the end of the day, frankly, not only do pretty much almost all reviews mean nothing, but user scores in particular don't really mean much when this stuff is allowed to happen. Now, I will say that I did check. I think that Metacritic is removing a lot. Just like I think they did the same for Halo. They do it for all games. They remove a lot of these bullshit, zeros and clearly people who are just, they're not contributing to anything. They're just looking to review bomb. I think they're removing them. And that's good because, it's like one of the things we celebrated for a game like Ghost of Tsushima is how it had such a high user score. I think that Ghost of Tsushima had like one of the highest user scores on Metacritic at like a 9.2 or something. And that was just people showing an outpouring of universal love for like, this game is awesome. And that can be useful. You see what I'm saying? Like, that can be useful. As much as I want to say all of this is pointless, don't pay attention, but it can be useful. And I can't deny that. Like when somebody who maybe just heard of Ghost of Tsushima for the first time and they just Google like Ghost of Tsushima reviews, and the first thing that pops up is Metacritic. They see that it's got like an 83, I think, from, professional critic reviews and whatnot, an 83, but then they see it sitting at a 9.2 user score. Like, that's really helpful to somebody because that's like, oh shit, like this game must be really good that it's sitting at over a 9, user score. People love this game. And it can be very useful for really bad games too. Like I think, again, Crossfire X is a good one where it's like, if you look at the user scores for that, it's like, yeah, they're horrendous. And it's you can't say that game's being review bombed. It's not. People are genuinely saying like, no, dude, this game's bad. Don't play this game, bro. Don't, you know what I mean? So it can be useful, but it's just, there's so many people with this stuff, man, where it's like, the hyperbole gets out of control. I can understand people wanting to have a little bit of fun and go back and forth, and that's fine. You want to take jabs like, well, this is why I think PlayStation does it better than Xbox. And people would be like, no, this is why I think Xbox is better. And that's fine. But then like when people just become ridiculous with it, it's like, it makes everything surrounding this look like a joke. And therefore, no serious conversations can be had. No interesting conversations can be had. So, at the end of the day, you got to use your common sense. That's all I can say, really, to anybody. If you're interested in a game, do some research, watch some gameplay. I think it's totally okay to listen to some reviewers. Listen to what they're saying. If you want to go look at review scores on Metacritic, you just got to be cautious. You got to know that review bombing is a thing. So if you see a user score that seems way different than what the actual, review scores look like, you might need to do a little bit further research and find out, is this game being review bombed or is there actually a valid reason for this? I think like a game like Cyberpunk 2077 is a good example of the game reviewed really good, but it was because CD Projekt Red was sneaky about it, and they made sure that reviewers were only playing the PC version. And then when people got their hands on it, that game got review bombed. And it should have, because people were trying to let you know, don't fall for the bullshit review scores if you're planning to play this on a console. It's broken, And that's where it's suddenly review bombing has its place. So at the end of the day, you just got to use your own discretion. You got to, you got to just use your own common sense. And that's really all I can say about this. But I just don't want people to walk away from this conversation thinking that I'm making it sound like, well, this is only happening to Horizon and it's not right and boo-hoo. No, it's sad and it's pathetic if you're taking time to try to tear down Horizon. It's going to happen, but it happens everywhere. And it's always sad and pathetic. Okay, let me see. Let me get to these super chats. Serpentine. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly. Team, we need to unite Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft before Meta, Apple, and Amazon come in with a wrecking ball with a metaverse grab. I fully expect that to happen at some point, dude. I fully expect that to happen. You know, it's going to be a sad day. We're going to have to do some mourning potentially on whoever they grab. But yeah, dude, I think that there's like I don't know if Nintendo's involved, but I think there is kind of like a shadowy alliance between Microsoft and Sony where they're like, you're going to make sure that you're not going to let them get it, right? Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, in the future, I could see Xbox and PlayStation teaming up and working together completely. I could see that future, man. I could see that future. Once, you know, Amazon, Apple, Meta, all, you know, whoever else and their mother wants to really try to get in on the gaming stuff and it really starts to get serious, I could absolutely see Xbox and PlayStation teaming up. And that, I think that would be awesome. I would love to see that. That'd be the coolest thing ever, but it's so, you know, I think it's still kind of a ways out, but I could see a scenario where it's like Game Pass is on PlayStation and PlayStation's releasing their games on Xbox. Do you hear that Apple's trying to make a console? You know, like, I don't know what's going to happen there. Not yet. Somebody says not this gen. No, it won't happen this generation. I'm talking about like kind of like the far future, maybe like 10 to 15 years from now. All the console warriors will be all old. Be like, this is heresy. This is crazy. This can't happen. Like, how cool would it be if there was like a console made where it's an Xbox and a PlayStation combined, and you can use a DualSense, you can use an Xbox controller, and you have access to both the PlayStation store and the Xbox store. It sounds too crazy. It's what's happening. It's unreal. Hoonbella says Halo reviews are a joke. IGN is a perfect example. Spent the whole review complaining about its massive issues, then gave it a 9. Well, dude, this is why it's so hard for me to care about reviews. Like, I know people call me a hypocrite because they're like, dude, you say that, and then you made a video highlighting the reviews that Horizon got. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess I fell for the bait, but like, dude, I just saw these reviews. You want to talk about reviews that are a joke, like Stevivor and shit, giving Horizon Forbidden West a 6.5 out of 10. Like, what are you, out of your goddamn mind? And that's supposed to be taken seriously? And if you read the review, it's like these people, they shouldn't be allowed to review it, because what it basically comes down to is, yeah, I hate games like Horizon. Then why the fuck are you reviewing it? You see what I'm saying? Like, why are you reviewing it? That'd be like somebody telling me, hey man, you hate, well, I don't know that there's any particular genre of game I hate, but it's like, so it does be like somebody tells me, I need you to review Gran Turismo 7, right? You need to review Gran Turismo 7, even though you've never played one in your life, and there's a good chance you might not like it, and it's just not your cup of tea at all, but review it anyway. And whatever score you give it, we're going to put that in the total aggregate score of, that's going to basically determine how people perceive this game. And I'm just like, no, you give a game like GT7 to a car enthusiast who plays video games. That's what you do. You know, it's just, it's so weird to me that there are just people who can come out and be like, yeah, I didn't like Horizon. It's like, and I know that the big argument, well, it's just one person's opinion. I know, but like, it seems like a bad one, bro. I don't. Everybody else who's playing Horizon is like, dude, this game's pretty good, man. This game's good, you know, and it's like above average. And then you just have like one or two people like, nah, bro, this game's mid. Like, what do you mean? Like, maybe it's just not your kind of game. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, man. I personally feel that anybody who has two eyes, frankly, I feel like if you have two eyes and a bit of common sense, you can do your own research on a game like Horizon. You know, you can go watch extensive gameplay. You can go just kind of do your own research, and you'll realize, like, yeah, I don't think it's a 6 out. Like, here's the best way I could put it. I would bet that there are at least a few people here right now, and if they're not here, they're out there. More than a few people, where they would come out and they would say, I see Horizon Forbidden West, and while I think it does look like a quality video game, you could tell it's a quality video game, it's not my cup of tea. For whatever reason, it's just not a game that grabs them. It's just not a game that they're drawn to, but they can identify what people like about it and the quality. That's what I'm trying to point out here. That is what I would call objectivity. Objectively speaking, Horizon Forbidden West is a quality video game. It's a quality product. Now, when we talk about bugs, when we talk about issues, again, you know, that's where it can be a little bit more subjective, and it's different for everybody. But in general, based off of everything I've seen, because I've been looking, I even listened to Skill Up. Skill Up said he had some issues with pop-in and whatnot, but even he said, like, look, they're really not game-breaking issues at all. They're not that serious. And by the end, he's like, this is a superb game. You know, I feel like that's it right there, man. It's about being objective. You know. It's about understanding that Horizon is objectively, and that's where things get tough, because like people are gonna be like, well, dude, reviews are subjective, and it's like, that's true, and I can't deny that, and that's why I just feel like at the end of the day, no matter how much I want to give reviews credit, like I want to turn to reviews and say they have a place, they mean something. They don't mean shit because they're subjective at the end of the day. Somebody says you can't say a game is objectively great. I mean, when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, you might be right about that. But you could make an argument for the other side. You can't say everything is subjective. Well, can you? It's about a consensus. It's about a lot of people getting together and making a stance, or taking a stance, I guess you could say. You're saying there's a difference between opinion and observation. True. Yes, that is true. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Saying you can say a game is objectively great if it fits within certain criteria. Yeah, I mean, that's where these things are. It depends on how you want to whittle it down. If you want to whittle it down. I mean, when it comes to reviews, you can make them as overly complex and meaningful as you want, or you could whittle it down to the simplest thing that you want. You know, where it's like, you could whittle it down to, I don't like the graphical art style of this game, so to me, it looks like a bad game. And, you know, you could say that, well, that's not valid. Like, that's not a valid opinion, but who's to say that? To that person, it's a valid opinion. So it's a tough thing. I'll just end this conversation and move on to the next topic by saying what I always say. And that is just go into something with an open mind and only care about how you feel about it, is the best way I could put it. Because that's what's going to matter to you most. Like if you see a game and deep down you're like, I don't think I'm going to like this game, and I really don't think I'm going to like this game, and it's just not appealing to me, then just don't buy it. Don't engage with it. You're probably right. Like, you're going with your gut, you know? But if you see something and you're like, I think that does look pretty good, or I think that there's a chance I might like it, there's a chance that it could be better than I expected. Deathloop is a good example for me, where I was really unsure of that game. Like, I was pretty sure that I wasn't going to like Deathloop, because I could just tell after all the gameplay I saw and all the trailers. I'm like, this just isn't clicking with me. I'm not feeling excited. And I took a chance and I bought it. I put some hours into it, and I was like, wow, I should have went with my gut. I was totally correct. Reviews mean nothing to me. I don't like this game. This game is not for me, and I don't want to play it. And that's it. What mattered to me, or what should have mattered to me more than anything in that moment. You may hear my son screaming, by the way. He's upset. My son's like, I love Deathloop. Don't you be shit talking Deathloop, Dad. I'm gonna come in there and choke slam you. No, but dude, like, the only thing that should have mattered to me in that moment is that I knew I wasn't gonna like it because it just wasn't speaking to me. But I let reviews influence my decision because I was like, holy shit, this game's scoring 10 out of 10s. It must be amazing. And then I started playing it and I'm like, these reviews mean jack shit to me. I was right. I don't like this game. Like, it turns out that a game getting a 10 out of 10 made no difference in how I truly felt about it. And that's why you guys are not going to expect this. You ready? It all comes full circle. You guys are going to be like, oh my God, I did not see MBG going in that direction. And that is why anybody who's playing Crossfire X right now and enjoying it is absolutely valid, because they're enjoying it. They're playing it. Reviews mean nothing to them. They thought it looked good. They picked it up. They gave it a chance because they exist. They exist, people. Yeah, I bet you didn't see that one coming. And so, you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Exactly, Hanzo. Exactly. To each their own. Enjoy what you enjoy. Like what you like. That's all it comes down to, man. That's all it comes down to. And if people, and if when you read what people are saying or typing to you, or you listen to what people are saying, all you have to ask is, are they enjoying what they enjoy? Are they enjoying what they enjoy, or are they busy worrying about what other people are or are not enjoying? Telling you, man. When you start asking yourself that question, when you're reading what people are saying and you're listening to what people are saying, it makes it a lot easier to navigate. It does. So, anyway, there you go. People are playing Horizon Forbidden West. They're loving it. People are playing Crossfire X. And some of them are liking it and loving it. And that's fine. It's fine. It's fine either way. Enjoy what you enjoy. All right. Let me see. Kevin Reavers said, Horizon Forbidden West is a tech issue. The PS5 on an IO level is more than capable of 4K 60. It's getting engines to handle such headroom without compromising experience. So you do bring up something very interesting, Kevin. And I do want that. I do want to talk about that for just a moment here. One of the reasons why we might be seeing some weird stuff going on, not just with Horizon, but with cross-gen games in general, is, and Digital Foundry mentioned this a while ago, actually, where they said that, developers and development teams, their engines, any game engine that is pretty much prominent right now, like Decima or any other, you look at games like Dying Light 2, any cross-gen game, these are engines that were developed with like 30 frames per second in mind. Most of them. And that's the truth. These are not next-gen engines, not yet. They're not the next iteration fully. And you could argue that maybe they can't be, because if you make a next-generation engine that's just focused on the PS5 specs and the Xbox Series specs, then that engine will not be compatible with the past consoles. Now, again, I'm speaking in territory that I'm not, the most technical person with this stuff. I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. I don't. But I just remember Digital Foundry basically saying that the reason why a lot of games are not able to go higher than they are, and the reason why a lot of these games, these cross-gen games, just seem like they kind of have these 60 FPS performance modes tacked on, is because these engines are not, they have to be remade essentially to make 60 FPS the new standard. And I do think with a game like Horizon using the Decima engine now, it's worth noting I have not played the PS5 version of Death Stranding. I know that uses the Decima engine, but that's also a last-gen game. So I don't know that we can make that comparison. But to me, what you're saying, Kevin, makes a lot of sense. It does. Because it's like, yeah, when I look at the PS5 specs, like it should be more than capable of 4K 60. Absolutely. Even on an open world game, it should be more than capable. And if I had to, and that's why I was kind of asking earlier, like, is it a technical issue or is it a cross-gen issue? Because if it's a cross-gen issue, then it's likely an engine problem more than anything. You know, I don't know that it's the PS5's fault. It's the same reason why I think so many people were kind of, again, I'm not trying to bring it up again, but it kind of does fit this scenario where it's like, even with a game, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think people were not too satisfied with Forza Horizon for, I think, the same reason. It was a cross-gen game, and it had a performance mode, and I think people were actually making this comparison with Horizon, where Forza Horizon 5 had a performance mode on the Series X, and it also had a resolution mode, and the resolution mode looked incredible, but it was at 30 FPS. But if you wanted to play the performance mode, the visual fidelity really took a hit. And people were saying that we're kind of seeing something similar here with Horizon Forbidden West. And I do wonder, like, is that the problem here? It's an engine problem. You know? I would believe it. I'm just seeing what you guys are saying. Saying devs just had to make sure it runs on 2 different hardware. That's why Cyberpunk had issues. Devs need time to dig deeper. Somebody says, I doubt it's the console. You can't even hear the fan when running. That's true, yeah. You're saying performance mode in Forza Horizon 5 has bad pop-in. This is what I'm saying, man. Like, I can't really harp on PlayStation or Xbox developers or development teams when it comes to this stuff, because it's like, I'm telling you, we need to get away from cross-gen. Like, we need cross-gen to be over and to not be a thing anymore. And when we get to that point, then we can, I think, really begin to get a better sense of, what is possible. Saying, MBG, think about the Matrix demo. That's true, but the Matrix demo was at 30 FPS, was it not? I'm thinking in the year like 2024 and 2025, and I know that sounds like really far from now, but I'm thinking like, imagine, I don't know, let's just say like if you want, The Last of Us Part 3, or a new IP from Naughty Dog that was developed exclusively on the PlayStation 5 and only on the PlayStation 5, right? And it was in development for like years. I'm trying to imagine what that game looks like at 60 FPS, right? What does that look like? That's, this kind of makes me think, I guess the real question here is, can we, like, is a PS5 Pro not necessary? Because with the PS5 hardware, it's more, like you said, it's more than enough to get a standard 4K 60 across the board. I don't know. I have to see, man. It's like you said, it's getting engines to handle such headroom without compromising experience. We will see, man. We will see. I just, I know that Guerrilla Games has another game that's in development. It's a AAA game. A lot of people are hoping it's SOCOM. We have no idea what this game is. It seems like it might be a shooter. Could be Killzone. Could be SOCOM. Some people were saying it's going to be a multiplayer Monster Hunter-esque Horizon game. I hope not. Like, I'm not trying, like, I love Horizon, but we don't need everything to be Horizon. We don't need everything to be God of War. I really hope that whatever Guerrilla Games second team is working on is something different. That's not Horizon, you know? And I was thinking, like, what if it is SOCOM? What if it's a SOCOM that was made from the ground up on PS5 and it's not going to be on PS4? What does that look like? What does the Decima engine look like then, right? Because you know if it's going to be a shooter, it's going to have a 60 FPS standard, right? These are just things I'm thinking about. Okay. Ex Cathedra says, stop letting arbitrary numbers on a review site decide how you should feel about a game. Example, The Order 1886 was a solid game that got way more hate than it deserved. Glad I took a chance on it. I agree. I see, the thing is, when I listened to the critiques of The Order 1886 specifically, I totally understood where they were coming from. Like, I agreed with a lot of them, where some of the critiques were there were too many QTEs, there wasn't enough actual just like raw gameplay, the game was too short to justify a $60 price tag. These were all very valid critiques, and why I do think that The Order 1886 kind of did deserve a lot of the review scores it got. However, what you're speaking to is just the individual just enjoying the game for what it is. And I remember when I played it, I think I bought it for like $10 or something. So immediately it's like, well, I feel like I practically got the game for free at that point. It's $10. And what I played, I was like, wow, you know, like I can see why people who paid $60 for this game were not happy. But as somebody who paid $10 for it, this was awesome. You know, like I did not expect it to be this impressive and this good. And I just found the world so interesting. And so it's like, yeah, you know, it's tough because I can't argue with people who are like, dude, The Order 1886 wasn't good, because I know why they're probably saying that. But I see so many people that are also like me, where it's like, but dude, it had so much potential. Like it should get a sequel to flesh that out. Anyway, guys, before I move on to the rest of these super chats, do me a big favor. Please hit the like button to help this podcast out, okay? We're almost at 550 likes. I think we could get to 600 likes. I would really appreciate that, excuse me. So hit that like button for me. Show your support. We have almost 1,000 people here, which is awesome. But I agree with what you're saying at Ex Cathedra. You got to just make your own judgment. You got to use your own judgment is what I mean. You got to make your own call. Don't let anybody make it for you. Nothing wrong with educating yourself. Nothing wrong with researching. But you got to make your own decision based on how you feel. Josh, you're saying, considering God of War always releases in March/April, what are the chances they look to release in the same window this year if Sony announces an event soon? So essentially what you're alluding to, Josh, is that Sony will potentially announce an event in March, and it's going to be a big event. And one of the things that Sony's going to show off at this big event in March is more God of War, Ragnarok. And they're also going to reveal that it's releasing in April, just a month later. No, I don't think that's going to happen, man. I think that at this point, it's safe to say that God of War Ragnarok will be a summer release. Now, I do think Sony could have an event, and I'm going to talk more about this in a little bit if I don't get super sidetracked. I do think Sony's going to have an event next month, and I think it's going to be a big event. And I could be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised at all if I'm completely wrong and it's like, dude, Sony's not having an event in March. When does Sony ever have an event in March? And that's true. They might not. But I think they might do a big event in March, and I think God of War will be there. And I think that pretty much when we see God of War again, make no mistake about this, okay? We're in full Horizon mode right now. When we see God of War Ragnarok again, the marketing for God of War Ragnarok is in full swing. And that's why you're not hearing anything about it right now. That's why Sony's practically acting like it doesn't exist, because they don't want anything to get in the way of Horizon. And, you know, GT7 will have its time in the sun, but GT7's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Sony or anybody at Sony or anybody outside of Sony thinks GT7 is going to get in the way of God of War's marketing, or God of War's marketing is going to get in the way of GT7. No, GT7 is its own thing, and they don't have to worry about that. So I think shortly after the release of GT7, Sony will do some type of an event. And And I think it's going to release in the summer, man. I think God of War Ragnarok is set for maybe a June or July, maybe even an August release. I think August is less likely, but I think June or July is when we get God of War Ragnarok. That's what I'm thinking at this point in time. Space D, you're saying that's why Starfield is going to be the real deal. You were very excited for Starfield, Space D. You're very excited for Starfield. Fred Vance, you're saying with every new console, we have to wait for software to catch up to the hardware. That is very true, man. And, you know, I want to ask you guys this. I'm really curious. And if you're somebody who's listening after the podcast, you know, you're listening to this later when it's not live, please leave a comment and let me know. And maybe I'll ask you guys in a separate video to leave a comment. Or maybe I'll put a poll out, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because I'm genuinely curious. For those who have put a substantial amount of time into Horizon Forbidden West on PS5 specifically, on PS5, do you feel that this was a PlayStation 4 game first and not a game that was built from the ground up for PS5? Or do you feel the opposite of that? That no, it feels like a genuine PS5 game. Curious what you think. Demon's Souls performance versus graphics is the exact same pixel count as Horizon MBG. LOL 1800p for 2160p. You invalidated your opinion. If that's true, man, if the pixel count is exactly the same, then it must be, I don't know if it's something else then. Some other type of tech. Because I know it's not just about the raw pixel count. I know that they have tricks to make a game look sharper than it actually is. I could be wrong, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly. Maybe I have to go back. Maybe I have to go back, man. Let me see what you guys are saying. Somebody says PS4 ground up. Somebody says it feels like a PS5 experience. Feels like a PS4 game, 100% PS4. Feels like a PS5 game in a lot of areas. It's best looking game on PS5. It's pretty diverse here, or pretty divisive, I should say. MBG, people get that wrong all the time. When you switch modes, there is more than just resolution. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, again, it wouldn't surprise me if the pixel count of Demon's Souls performance mode is the same as, or maybe even less, I don't know, just roughly equivalent to what we see in the pixel count of the performance mode of Horizon. But I feel like there's like more going on with the image, like quality itself, where I'm having a very difficult time noticing it. To whereas with Horizon, I do notice it. Anyway, I don't want to keep talking about that, but I was just curious to see what you guys thought. Raul, you retracted your message, but thank you for the super chat, buddy. Sorry, I don't know what you said, but thank you. JDTV says, the Sun King of Meridian demands MBG wear his clown costume. It's an important step to save Gaia and Project Zero Dawn. MBG, you know what to do. Dude, JDTV, I swear, man, you have like a poster of me in that costume in your room, like framed. No joke. That has to be, right? iSiler18, you're saying the Order 1886, Days Gone 2, Sacrificial Lambs. Yeah, man, I mean, those are two games that I would love to see sequels to, and we could still get them one day, man. One day. Just not anytime soon, but one day we could see them return. One day. Himinashu Yadav, you're saying, are you going to buy GT7? Doesn't seem worth 70, to be frank. You know, honestly, I'm probably going to pass on GT7, at least for now. I mean, it's hard for me to say whether or not I feel as though Gran Turismo 7 is worth $70 because I have no experience with Gran Turismo. It looks really good. Like, even as somebody who's not a car enthusiast and somebody who hasn't played Gran Turismo, I've tuned into the state of play. I've watched the trailers, and I'm like, it looks really good, man. And I think for anybody who is excited for it, I think it will probably feel totally worth the price that they're asking. And I'm interested to see how it reviews. And it's gonna sell like crazy. But for me, when Gran Turismo 7 launches on March 4th, I'm still gonna be knee deep in Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring, and I'm gonna be totally overwhelmed. I'm going to feel like I'm drowning in games and content. So I'm actually, I don't know, man. I'm going to be interested the week that GT7 launches, guys, when we do the podcast. For anybody who here listening to this, who tunes into the podcast on a weekly basis, I'm going to be interested to see what you guys have to say and get some feedback from you for those who've been waiting for it, because I'm super interested to know. Definitely interested to know. So we're going to move on to another topic now. We're done talking about Horizon. I want to talk about something that I think a lot of you guys are also very much interested in, which is it has to do with some of the rumors and conspiracies of what may be going on behind the scenes with PlayStation and their next move to acquire a studio, to acquire a publisher, because there's been some interesting stuff going on. And the biggest argument that people have been making about, kind of pushing back against my theories is that Sony, nor anybody who is involved with Sony when it comes to an acquisition, would ever tease something like that out. A lot of people are saying that's illegal. Now, I'm no legal expert, but I could see that argument being made. Laman, you're saying, check your latest Twitter post about your podcast. I left proof. The only comment about Naughty Dog's next game, Stray Dogs, with 2 photos included. I will go check now. Let me see. Okay, I'm going over to my post about... Sorry, just give me a second. Okay. Stray Dogs, you say, huh? I've heard about this. Naughty Dog's next game leak. Let's see, this is confidential information. This looks like a leak from, is this Reddit? It says, Naughty Dog's new IP info project, Strays Cross. This was a while ago. This was July of 2019. This confidential information is the second project shown after the discussion on the release date of The Last of Us Part 2 at a recent Sony PlayStation meeting with Naughty Dog. During the meeting, a secondary team of Naughty Dog officials officially reveals for the first time it's working on an original IP under development for the next generation PlayStation. This is what they revealed to the marketing managers. The final name of the new IP has not yet been discussed, and the progress of the game is still far from being concluded. At the moment, the code name of the project is Stray Cross. Strays Cross will be an action-adventure game with a first-person. See, that to me automatically makes this not believable. Naughty Dog's not going to make a first-person game. I tell you right now, there's a lot of studios that I could see under Sony deciding to make a first-person game. They're not going to make a first-person game with steampunk elements, and it will have 2 protagonists, a former female scientist, talented scholar fascinated by space-time science. She discovers confidential documents that will lead her to discover a hidden truth much bigger than she can imagine, and a wanted criminal man, a former construction worker unjustly arrested for protecting a wanted friend during a shooting against the police. The plot is about a secret conflict that lasted entire ages and how this will lead to the inevitable ruin of human society. And the story begins with the casual meeting of the 2 protagonists in completely different circumstances who will find themselves having to work together to get what they're looking for. I mean, I'm gonna be real right now. I don't believe it. I don't really believe any of that. It just doesn't sound like that. Does not sound at all like something Naughty Dog would do after The Last of Us Part 2. It just doesn't. So I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna put my 2 cents out here now. It doesn't sound bad. I'm just saying to me, it doesn't sound like what they would do next. I'm going to put my 2 cents out. I'm going to laugh 2 years from now. We go back to this podcast. It's that was actually entirely true. I'm going to put my 2 cents out here right now. I think Naughty Dog's next game, whether we like it or not, some people will love it, some people will hate it, will be The Last of Us Part 3. I do not believe that we're going to get a new IP for quite until at least after that comes out, because I tell you right now, I don't know if it was Neil Druckmann or somebody. They basically came out and said that they had the entire template for part 3 already done. And I'm like, dude, look at how well The Last of Us Part 2 sold. Yeah, I think they're going to make part 3. So, you're saying they are no way they are definitely making a new IP? I hope so. I would prefer a new IP at this point. You're saying factions will allow The Last of Us to breathe. That's true. That's true. If they bring out factions and then maybe a remake of The Last of Us 1, yeah, then they might give it some time if they ever return with a single player Last of Us game. But some of the rumors I want to talk about, get a little bit more comfortable in my chair here. Some of the rumors I want to talk about that happened this past week. So first of all, I'll tell you right now, Shuhei Yoshida and Herman Hulst are being weird on Twitter. All right. and I know that people are like, bro, you're stupid. All right. They're like, bro, you're stupid. You're making shit up, or you're being delusional. You could tell me what you want. You could say that all day, every day to me. I'm not going to see this as any... to me, it's weird. It's weird. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure most of you do, Shuhei Yoshida took to Twitter and he came out and he was like, he listed the 5 games he played, and he listed like Sifu, he listed Horizon, and at the bottom, he said, unreleased Souls-like. And pretty much everybody's like, bro, he's talking about Salt and Sacrifice. Now, for those who don't know what Salt and Sacrifice is, I believe it's a PlayStation console exclusive. And it's a Souls-like game, Souls-inspired game. It's an indie game, and it is coming out, I think, in May. It's coming out in May. Do I think that's what he was talking about? That he played? Yes. Yes, I do. But it's not like, I don't think... I'm just going to tell you this. I'm trying to think of the best way to articulate this without it sounding confusing. I think one of two things happened. I think Shuhei Yoshida and Herman Hulst were in cahoots. All right. And Shu was going to tweet that, and Herman was going to stoke the flame and get people talking. It was either that. You're saying, oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me triple check that. I have to say triple check because I'm pretty sure I checked it multiple times. You're saying the key here is unannounced? Let me double check. Triple check. My bad. No. See, that's where we have to be careful here. That's where we have to be careful. We don't want to confuse. He doesn't say unannounced. All right. He says unreleased. And he's implying that it's going to be releasing soon. And everybody thought that he was talking about Elden Ring. And he said, no. Somebody says, what you're trying to say is that it's scripted. I do. I do think it's scripted. And if it wasn't scripted, then I think it was definitely something that, at the very least, Herman Hulst had to check in with his PR guy and be like, yo, can I tweet this response to Shu? And they're like, yeah, sure. It's not giving away too much. It's just giving people something to get excited about. Giving people a reason to talk. I'm telling you now, man, it doesn't people are saying that Shuhei Yoshida and Herman Hulst are trolling. And I'm like, come on, man. They're not allowed to troll like that. They're just not. Herman Hulst wouldn't do that. When is Herman Hulst ever a troll, bro? He's not. He says, MBG, you bet it's scripted. Herman Hulst posted a picture an hour prior, I believe, on Instagram where he was in a call with Shuhei Yoshida. So I'm saying, dude, Like, believe me when I tell you, the purpose of this tweet was not to look at what Shu said and be like, don't focus on the game that he played, because yes, he's talking about a game. You're saying they allowed Hassan to troll. Yeah, but it's one thing if somebody like Hassan trolls or somebody like Kojima trolls on their own accord versus, dude, Herman Hulst, Shuhei Yoshida. You know, Herman Hulst never once touched Abandon or Blue Box. Herman Hulst has never said a word about it because he never would unless he knew it. Like, you know what I mean? Could you imagine if Herman said anything about Blue Box? It would go nuclear, you know? What is MBG trying to connect now? You say, John Doe says, at MBG, just him saying such a tease is because something people have been asking for some time or something even better. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, teasing Salt and Sacrifice is not a tease. Teasing that you played Salt and Sacrifice as the head of indies, a game that has been announced for a long time, we've seen numerous times, and we know it's coming, that's not a tease. And honestly, Herman would look kind of dumb. You know what I mean? Like, he would look kind of dumb if that's what he was talking about. Because, like, Herman, bro, he's not teasing shit. You know? Like, he's just pointing out, I'm telling you, it was done purposely. Because here's the thing. If he did play Salt and Sacrifice, why wouldn't he just say it? Why would he say unreleased Souls-like? Why wouldn't he just say Salt and Sacrifice? He would absolutely be allowed to say that. He's Shuhei Yoshida. Let me see. Laman, you say, thanks, leaker. Millie A. Amand, I don't know. Millie A. I think you're talking about, yeah, Millie A. says you're a star creator. Oh, well, that's awesome. If that's true, that's very nice of her. Appreciate that. Come on, Millie A. Leak more PlayStation stuff. Leak more PlayStation stuff for us. We need more over here. We need to know what's coming after, well, I guess not after God of War, but we just need to know more. When's the next PlayStation event? Space D, you're saying they're just trying to keep the momentum, the mind share. I agree, dude, but I don't know, man. Fred Vance, you're saying Sony is always holding secrets tight and will only leave obscure hints, always expect the unexpected to what they're doing. Well, the reason why I'm focused on this, look, there is something weird going on with PlayStation, From Software IP that Sony owns that From Software's worked on, and possibly even Bandai Namco. Now, do I think Sony has acquired Bandai Namco? No, I don't. To me, there's no way. It would make sense why Sony could possibly consider acquiring them, but I think Bandai Namco is too expensive for Sony. I don't think that they would risk that type of acquisition. But something else that happened prior to this, well, before I move on, I just want to try my best to bring this together so you understand where I'm coming from. The reason why I think that this string of tweets, so it's worth noting that, you know, Herman Hulst replies to Shuhei by saying, you're like such a tease. Such a tease. You're such a tease, Shu. And Shu says, I didn't mean to. Like, what the hell are you guys talking about? You know what I mean? Like nobody really thinks you're talking about Salt and Sacrifice because, dude, if Herman, and I want to make this clear, if Herman was super prominent on Twitter and Herman was replying to everybody and responding to every developer and just constantly tweeting, I would not think anything of this because I'd be like, the dude is on Twitter all the time. The dude is on Twitter all the time responding to everybody. It means nothing, but he's not. That's the thing here. Herman is not the most active person on Twitter. And so it's a little bit unlike him to respond in this way. And I absolutely think that this is, I'm going to tell you, do you know what I think this is? He is talking about Lies of P. Oh, Lies of Phil Spencer. That is what he's talking about. Lies of Pinocchio. Yeah, dude, that game looks sick. So I want to tell you what I think this is. And I'm willing to be completely wrong. In fact, I'm usually wrong, but it's still fun to speculate and come up with my own theories. I couldn't help but notice that this string of tweets and this conversation between Shu and Herman came literally like a day after there were multiple reports making the rounds, which I also reported on, that one of the most prominent leakers regarding Soulsborne games, regarding From Software, came out and said that he hasn't heard a single peep about Bloodborne. And he didn't explicitly say that nothing is happening with Bloodborne. He just said that he's always caught wind of whatever is going on with From Software or their IP or Blue Point Games, and he hasn't heard anything. And so everybody kind of came to the same conclusion, which is, well, damn, sad day. Sad day indeed. Apparently, Sony isn't doing anything with Bloodborne. He's not doing anything with Bloodborne. I keep referring to Sony as he. Sony, he is not doing anything with Bloodborne. Herman Hulst isn't doing anything with Bloodborne. That's who I'm talking about. MBG, it's because I'm reading the chat as I'm talking, and I sometimes just say words that the chat is typing. MBG, he only tweets to congratulate or to tease something big, like London Studios' new IP in the other game that he also said he can't wait to show what they're working on. It's what I'm saying, dude. Herman Hulst tweets have purpose. They're not like my tweets where it's like, yo, Sony God of War, it's gonna be awesome. You know what I mean? Like, he tweets. He knows his position within PlayStation, and he's gonna leverage that in his tweets. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think that Sony, I think Herman Hulst and Shuhei Yoshida and the marketing team over, the PR team at Sony, I think they saw that this was making rounds. And whether you know it or not, that person, Omnipotent, who said that, it made pretty big waves, dude. Like, people were, that entire day, pretty much everybody was like, God, this sucks. Bloodborne's dead, bro. Pour one out for Bloodborne. Like, it's over. And dude, I think that this is Sony's very subtle way of trying to nudge Bloodborne fans just a little bit to be like, God, no. Like, keep the dream alive, baby. I think that's what they're saying, man. I know people are like, Bloodborne 2 confirmed. I'm not saying that. BG needs to be on the Unexplained Mysteries channel, all these conspiracies. I'm not saying he's confirming Bloodborne 2. I'm just saying that when we saw those reports circulating, pretty much everybody collectively cried out and said, the dream is dead. The Hunter's dream is dead. Bloodborne remaster not happening. Bloodborne 2 definitely not happening. And then I feel like I see this and I don't know, man. What? Come on. You're going to tell me Shuhei Yoshida, he's teasing Salt and Sacrifice? No offense to Salt and Sacrifice. That game looks cool. And I know people are super excited for it. How can you tease a game that's already known? It's already known. It's out there. The gameplay's out there. It's releasing in just a few months. You can't tease that. That's not a tease. What I'm trying to say is that in the context of what Shu said explicitly, unreleased Souls-like, he's not teasing Salt and Sacrifice, and people need to realize that. Because here's the reality of this situation. You ready? Believe me when I'm telling you this. If Shuhei Yoshida was teasing the fact that he played Salt and Sacrifice, a game that's coming out in just a few months, Herman would have said nothing. There would be no reason, no purpose, no point whatsoever for Herman Hulst to reply to his tweet. The reason why Herman replied to his tweet was because he wanted people to think, oh, what's he talking about? Why do you think Shuhei Yoshida replied by saying, well, I didn't mean to? What do you mean? Like he did something bad. Like he did something wrong. How are you doing something? How can you get in trouble? How can you wrongfully tease a game that's already announced? You see what I'm saying? Are you guys understanding now that everybody everybody who is screaming, he's talking about Salt and Sacrifice. You're right. You're not wrong. You're right. But you need to learn to read between the lines and you need to see more. Now, look, I understand. I understand that people are like, bro, this is coming from the same dude who told me Blue Box was Kojima. Okay, give me a break, will you? Give me a break. That wasn't just me who thought that, okay? It's not like I was the only mother effer standing out here screaming it's Kojima at Silent Hill. Give me a break, all right? It was, at one point in time, everybody thought there was something going on there, not just me. I may have drank a little bit too much of the Kool-Aid, but I'm just saying, I'm reading this string of tweets, and I don't know, I admit, sometimes maybe I am blinded by my own excitement, you know? I don't deny that, but MVG is sounding like them dudes who say 2023 is the end of the world, peace out. Dude, come on, it's not that. It's not all that. I can't no more. Oh, man. MVG, you are right. You have me convinced, or you have convinced me. I mean, well, that's it. Look, I don't want to say anything definitively. Like, I don't want to make it sound like I know, but I'm pretty certain, man. I'm just saying if you know, this, we have to understand this is different. What I'm speculating here, this isn't an indie studio. This isn't Hassan Karaman, you know, no offense. This isn't an obscure Kojima tweet. Like, this is Herman Hulst and Shuhei Yoshida directly making an exchange. And in my opinion, based off of what I'm seeing in this exchange, it's pretty clear that they're trying to tease something that is, you know, not announced yet, or something that, I mean, come on, bro. Like, do you think Herman's stupid? Like, do you think Herman didn't realize when he responds to this tweet, everybody and their mother is going to scream, Bloodborne, Bloodborne, Bloodborne? He knows, man. And so does Shuhei Yoshida. There's a reason why Shuhei Yoshida explicitly said, I'm not talking about Elden Ring. Bloodborne is overrated. Get out. Get out right now. I'm just kidding. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. MBG, what's your gut feeling on Forspoken? My gut, I'm going to be honest, my gut feeling is I don't think I'm going to like it. I know that sounds very not good, but that's my gut feeling. But I feel like I am willing to give it a chance. I just hope it doesn't turn out like Deathloop did for me, where like my gut told me I wasn't gonna like Deathloop, and then I played it, and then I like definitely didn't like it. I hope. I mean, I'm expecting to see more of it. So we'll see. Chris B, you're saying Abandoned is Bloodborne 2. Hassan will provide. Yeah, dude, we had it all wrong, guys. It's not Silent Hill. It's clearly Bloodborne 2. Space D, you're saying MBG acting like Sony didn't tease God of War Ragnarok for launch. I'm assuming you're referring to when Cory Barlog like just straight up spelled out Ragnarok and it was like right in front of us. Sony, they can tease some stuff sometimes, man. But here's the thing: I don't just want to focus on that tweet from Shuhei and Herman's response. I also want to focus. Did you guys see that tweet that came out of nowhere? And I want to make sure that they didn't tweet anything else after that to maybe negate what I'm about to say. Give me a second just to find it. It was Bandai Namco, the Bandai Namco US account. They just like randomly tweeted on February 17th. And it was just, I'm telling you, man, it was so weird. They tweeted a picture of PlayStation's HQ, PlayStation headquarters, and in front of it is the pot guy. And they tweeted, I've walked from the lands between to the PlayStation headquarters. I wonder if there's a trophy for this accomplishment. Now, I'm on their Twitter right now, and I'm looking to see, did they do this for any other publisher? Like, did they do it for Xbox or anything? Like Valve, whatever. They did. It was just for PlayStation. And, I think people were being a little bit harsh with here's what I said. I quote tweeted it and I said, this tweet seems kind of conspicuous. And people assume that what I'm saying is, oh, well, obviously Sony has acquired Bandai Namco. No, I didn't necessarily, I wasn't trying to allude to that, but I was basically just pointing out how this is kind of weird. Like there is something here that to me is just like, wait a second. Now, a lot of people were saying like, dude, you gotta cool it because this is just marketing. Now, and yeah, you're right. You're pointing out that Insomniac Games replied to them as well, basically saying, hey, come on down here to Burbank. Come visit us. Look, we are at an inflection point once again. There's a fork in the road here, people, and you got to decide which road you're taking, or you could just stand there. A lot of people, there's nothing wrong with just standing there until you get more information. I want to tell you what this fork in the road is, okay? You can choose to believe that everything we have seen so far between Sony, PlayStation, and From Software, Elden Ring, and Bandai Namco is just simply marketing, or you can choose to believe that there's more to it, and we're going to find out in the not too distant future what that more to it actually is. It doesn't necessarily have to come in the form of an acquisition. I know that that's like the thing we're jumping to, but it could be something completely outside of that. But I just want to give you a brief reminder of what's been going on here. I'm going to get to these super chats. Just give me one sec, guys. I want to let you know that, it started with last month, Sony basically putting out two blog posts for Elden Ring. The first was not really that interesting. The first was basically just, I think it was basically just them hyping up the game, and that's fine. Elden Ring's going to be big on PlayStation. But the second was really interesting to me, where they did an extensive interview with Hidetaka Miyazaki, and they actually got multiple PlayStation studios to come out and talk extensively about From Software games, basically saying, these are my favorite boss battles from Software games. And I'm like, wow, they're really giving From Software a lot of attention here. They're shining a big spotlight. And again, like I mentioned it, and people were like, bro, chill, man. Like they're just marketing the game. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think it's still interesting. And, if anything, it's good because it still shows that there's a really strong relationship. There's a strong relationship between From Software and PlayStation, which is great. But I still think it's a little weird. Is there something going on here? And then it escalates further with this tweet from Bandai Namco, where it's like, now you're tweeting about being outside of PlayStation HQ, and dude, people are like, that's marketing. That's marketing. I'm like, what kind of marketing is that? You could have tweeted anything. You could have tweeted literally anything, such as, I don't know, the pot guy with a PS5, the pot guy with a PS5 controller, just something. It's something that just PlayStation HQ, really? PlayStation HQ. I just thought that it was weird, man. And then now we see this string of tweets where there's Shuhei Yoshida and there's Herman Holst, and they're talking about an unreleased Souls. Like, look, I've been saying I don't think that it happened. I'm just saying what I want. I want Sony to acquire From Software. And if that means you have to buy all of Kadokawa to make it happen, if you have to buy an entire company just to get one developer, and that is From Software, then you do it, Sony. You do it. You make it work. All right? You buy all of Kadokawa. Did they? Who knows? I have no clue. Nobody knows. If anybody knows, they're not going to say. I also just want to make it known, because I think people forgot that this is coming. All of this, everything I just listed is coming almost immediately after Jim Ryan comes out and says last month, oh yeah, we still have more moves to make. We're still going to be acquiring more. And then the next day, Jeff Keighley comes out and says, yeah, there are some there are some negotiations going on right now that are in final talks. And he says it's going to be an interesting year. I'm just saying, this is the string of events. It's certainly possible it could lead to nothing, and I wouldn't be surprised if it led to nothing, if it's all just coincidence, because if there's one thing I've learned in 2021 is that, man, coincidences can be, they can be a bitch. They really can. But I just think that, and I don't think this is a reach. You guys tell me if you think I'm reaching here. I think if this were to lead to anything, if Shuhei Yoshida's teasing something out and Herman Holst and Bandai Namco's like, haha, pot guy at PlayStation HQ, to me, it signals that maybe Sony struck another game deal with From Software, where they are now going to, once Elden Ring Elden Ring is finished, but once they're completely moved on from Elden Ring and they start work on their next game, it could be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. I'm not saying it's going to be Bloodborne 2, but I think it, do you guys remember the rumors? There were a bunch of rumors of apparently another Souls-like game, or what it was being called, a Bloodborne spiritual successor that was under the code name Velvet Veil or something like that. Apparently it was a game deal that From Software had with Sony. And look, I'm just saying, man, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls for the PS3 generation, Bloodborne for the PS4 generation. I don't think I'm crazy at all for saying I think we're going to get another Souls-like exclusive for the PS5 generation. Does that sound crazy to you guys? Because I don't think it is. So, I don't know. But I hope it's more than that. I hope Sony buys From Software. I want to see Sony get From Software. I'd love to see that. All right, let me get to some of these super chats. You're saying you would think people would get tired of jumping at every hype rumor on the internet. LOL, guess the marketing is just doing its job then. Dude, it must be. It must be, bro. It's hard not to, man, because that's the thing is I think I was pretty fair here. Like, I spent the overwhelming, you gotta admit, I spent the overwhelming majority of this podcast talking about Horizon Forbidden West, talking about games like Sifu, talking about games that have already released. It's only been like, I think the past 20 minutes we became a conspiracy, whatever. So I give myself a little bit of credit there. Fred Vance, you're saying, I want to peek behind Sony's curtain to see what they're doing and what deals are happening. I feel, that's kind of where I feel like I'm at right now, because let's be honest, man, for as awesome as it is that we finally have Horizon Forbidden West, for as awesome as it is that we got Ghostwire Tokyo, GT7, Forspoken, God of War Ragnarok. I mean, there's a lot of games, and they're all coming relatively soon. But you got to admit, we really don't know much beyond that. I feel like for 2023, we know about Spider-Man 2, KOTOR Remake, but I don't know, man. I feel like the time is coming very soon where it's going to be time for Sony to show more games. And I don't say that coming from a place... of we don't have enough games. Guys, I already told you I'm drowning in games right now. But it's just like, you just can't help but feel like while you're eating good, also thinking, well, what's coming after this? Because this is great, and I know I'm still going to be hungry. So what's coming after that? What else? What lies ahead? I feel like I've been saying this for a long time, because let's be honest, guys. When's the last time Sony really, really, really flexed, man? When's the last time Sony really flexed with a big event and just a banger of a showcase? I'm not trying to downplay last year's showcase. They definitely flexed hard with that Wolverine exclusivity, Spider-Man 2, but I'm talking like a full-blown hour and a half, all focused on PlayStation Studios and partners. I feel like it's been a while. 2020. It's been since 2020, man. And I'm eager to know. September 2020? Yeah, that was a pretty good event. I mean, look, come on. Can we acknowledge here for a second, guys? Almost every insider has been saying the same thing. Hogwarts Legacy is ready to be shown. It's ready to be shown again. It's going to be shown very soon. It's going to be shown in February or March. And I'm like, when the hell, if this is true, when the hell are we supposed to see this game? And now I'm starting to think maybe we're going to see it at the next PlayStation event, and maybe that PlayStation event is right around the corner. But we also have to understand that, Sony can't do an event like right now. They can't do an event in the middle of them releasing new games. They have to do it in between the release of new games. So, I think March does make the most sense, man. I think March does make the most sense. But, if not March, then we're going to see Sony flex in June, I think. But I'm excited. I'm excited because, again, I just feel like it's been a long time since we've seen Sony really come out. And also, PSVR 2, guys. Sony has to show off PSVR 2 if they're planning to release it this year. They have to show off games. It's going to be, PSVR 2 is going to be, I think, not a hard sell, but it's not going to be the same as, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like Sony showing off PlayStation VR 2 and getting people hyped about that. It's different because you don't want it to take away from the games you have coming up that aren't VR, but you have to get people excited for the VR. So I don't know, man. I want to know. Young G, you're saying, watch us get a boring Forspoken trailer instead of a sick Ragnarok trailer next month. Well, I hate to say it, man, but the chances of us getting another Forspoken trailer next month is much higher, I think, maybe than Ragnarok, because Forspoken is, as of right now, releasing in May. And, I'm just saying the chances are high. iSiler18, you're saying Insomniac's response to Namco, gave me goosebumps just saying LOL. Dude, it is. It is. I think that it is weird, man. I do. I think that the way that PlayStation studios are interacting with Bandai Namco and From Software, it just comes off to me as a little bit strange. Like, I do not think that's just purely marketing. And if so, it's a little bit strange marketing. That's how I feel. KD, you're saying, MBG, did you see all the studios that congratulated Guerrilla? All Sony first party and partners like Ember Lab and Kojima. Interesting thing is Remedy was there too. Yeah, dude, I saw, man. Trust me, I see it all. I just hit my mic. Sorry, I see it all. I don't miss a thing. I'm just kidding. I do usually miss some things, but I saw that. I definitely noticed that. And did Phil Spencer congratulate? I don't think Xbox congratulated PlayStation this time. Am I wrong? I only say that because if I'm not mistaken, usually Phil Spencer congratulates Sony on like their big marquee releases, and I don't know if he did this time or not. Because I have a funny joke. Well, some people. I saw that Techland. Yeah, I saw that too. Techland has been putting Major Nelson did? Okay. Techland has been putting a lot of focus on Horizon Forbidden West. I saw that too. That was pretty interesting. Dude, Phil Spencer's busy raging. He's raging at Crossfire X. That's why he couldn't take the time to congratulate. Kidding, of course, but it's pretty funny. I want to make it known that, dude, if Sony got a game like Crossfire X exclusive, I would also be dunking on that shit and making fun of it. It's not just because it's Xbox. It's just sometimes some games are so bad, it doesn't matter where they are. They're just, you gotta kind of poke fun a little bit, Do I think Gotham Knights will be delayed? No, I don't think so. KD, you're saying Control was technically a Souls-like game too. Dude, I feel like calling Control a Souls-like game is really pushing it, KD. I feel like that's really pushing it, bro. But I could see it to an extent. Gatsu says, MBG, I'm curious as to what your top 3 publishers and top 3 studio wants as a PlayStation fan. I'd love Capcom, Square Enix, From Software, Remedy, Crytek. Okay, so when it comes to developers, you named 2 for me. From Software, number 1. I want Sony. I'm telling you, I'm just going to keep saying it. I want Sony to find a way to get From Software. Okay, From Software, number 1. Remedy is, believe it or not, actually my number 2 because I loved Control, and I think Control 2 is going to be even better. They're working on Alan Wake 2, which is going to be super, like they're hyper focused on making it horror, survival horror specifically. And I'm like, oh God, dude, please get Remedy. And Remedy would be tough though, because they have so many games going so many places. So I think Remedy for games like Control and Alan Wake 2. The third studio, that's tough, man. You say Crytek, I don't know. I mean, I know this is going to be a cop-out, but you already know what's coming. Kojima Productions. So my biggest wants for studios, From Software, Remedy, Kojima Productions. I think that all three of those studios would fit. But I would also replace any one of those studios with Ember Lab or Slow Clap as well. So those are my 5 studios. When it comes to publishers, for me, Konami, as you know, mainly for the IP. If Sony could, I would count Sony just buying Konami's IP as buying a publisher. Like I would be okay with that. I would count that as a publisher buy if they just got all of Konami's IP. I would say Square Enix, man, but I just feel like Square Enix, look, it just would feel, it would be exciting, but it would also feel like, but you know, not much has changed. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of like, oh yeah. And I want to say a publisher. I guess maybe Capcom. Did you guys? Okay, so here's something interesting for you guys, real quick. Did you guys see that Ubisoft's Yves Guillemot, I guess is how you say his name? He came out and he straight up was like, "We will review an acquisition offer. Like, we're not saying," like, Ubisoft pretty much came out and said we would potentially be willing to be acquired. Did you guys see that? This is something that just happened, I think, yesterday or the day before, where he straight up said they would be willing to review any offers. And I'm like, yo, guys, this is why I'm trying to tell people, like, it's more likely at this point in time, at this point in time that a publisher or a studio is likely to be bought than not. That's where we are right now. Consolidation is real, bro. And this is why I don't care when people want to make fun and be like, haha, so much for organic growth. Like, dude, shut the F up. Things have changed. Okay, the game has changed, bro. All right, Sony has to get their hands dirty, whether they want to or not. They have to get involved. Because if they don't, there ain't going to be nothing left. That's just the reality of it. So, who knows? Who knows, man? Ubisoft might be next. Now, I have a good question for you guys before I read the rest of these super chats. I got a good question for you guys. Let's just say Microsoft cannot make any more acquisitions right now. Okay, Microsoft is busy trying to make sure that they can get this Activision deal to go through. So therefore, let's just take Microsoft out of the picture, because I think it's safe to say they can't acquire anybody big at this point. They just can't. If Ubisoft is out here saying that we're willing to be acquired and Microsoft cannot acquire them, what would you rather see? Because this is a tough one. You're saying, MBG, you can't just say that after everything you said. Dude, I have to be able to say that because it's not my fault, dude. At one point, when I saw that Microsoft bought Bethesda, I'm like, okay, all right. I don't think that means Sony has to go out there buying everybody up now. Sony should still be organic and focused more on smaller studios that they can grow. But then when Microsoft a year later is like, we're also getting Activision, and now we're hearing Meta and Google and Amazon, now they're all getting involved. I'm like, bro, okay, Sony, look, I'm all about the organic stuff, but you got to go out there and you got to start making some moves of your own. Because if you don't, they're all going to be gone. You know, all right, I think my cat's going to come up now. So here's what I propose, right? The question I propose. If Ubisoft were to be acquired, right? You know, my cat just jumped up. Here's Leia, everybody. There's Leia. Say hi. Okay. There she is. She's like, leave me alone. I'm just coming up here to chill. If Ubisoft were to be open to being acquired, which they clearly are, And they were going to be, you guys said my mic, it did it again. Apparently anytime my cat comes near, it closes out my my software, my audio software. It should be fixed now. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time spitting this out, guys. What I'm trying to say, would you rather PlayStation acquire Ubisoft or would you rather Sony just let Ubisoft go to say somebody like Google or Meta or Amazon? What would you prefer? I feel like that's tough for me because I feel like instinctively I'm going to be like, well, if it's either Sony or all those or any of those, other entities, I'm going to say Sony, please get Ubisoft and save them and make them better. Because if Ubisoft goes to any of these other entities, I feel like they're just going to get way, way worse. I feel bad because like my cat's ass is like facing the camera. All right, there, that's better. You gotta, if you're going to chill up here with me later, you're going to have to face the right way. But I would not be that excited. I would not be that excited for a Ubisoft acquisition, but I would also be hopeful that, hey, it would mean that they could make them better, potentially, So, all right, let me see. Rashdom B2, you're saying not going to happen. Tencent owns shares in Katakawa. Yeah, but that's the thing, dude, is like, just because Tencent owns shares, I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but I don't think that means that they can't be purchased. I don't think that, like, if they own like 5 or 6%, I'm pretty sure all Sony has to do is, if I have this correct, is just buy that up. I'm certain that's, Sony can still buy Katakawa. That doesn't matter who has shares in it. Like, if Sony's like, we're going to pay all the money. You're saying Tencent can't stop a buyout since they are only minority shareholders. There, yeah. Who 51? I don't think it's 51%, bro. I don't think it's 51%. That is considered a hostile takeover. Yeah, true, and it's like, it is unlikely. It is extremely unlikely that your tail. Come on. It is extremely unlikely that Sony will do any type of hostile takeover. Yeah, you're right. You're right as well. Ubisoft has some allegations and they have some problems going on behind the scenes as well. So, all right. Darkborn, you're saying it would be smart to get Bandai as they have most of the anime IPs for gaming. Sony could also use it to leverage for keeping FromSoft to make an IP. Yeah, that's the weird thing about Bandai Namco is that if Sony were if in some reality Sony were to acquire all of Bandai Namco, they wouldn't actually get From Software. I don't even know how that would work. Okay, here's what I'm confused about. Somebody please help me. If From Software is owned by Katakawa, then what does Bandai Namco have anything to do with their games? Is it like Katakawa owns From Software, but Bandai Namco publishes their games? Is that as far as it goes? Bandai owns the publishing rights. Okay. So, if they own the publishing rights, that means they don't own the IP, correct? See, how does that work? They don't own do they own the IP if they own the publishing rights? It's a little bit confusing. Correct. They don't own the IP. Dark Souls IP only. The only IP they own is Sekiro. Dude, this shit's confusing. See, I hate that From Software is so tangled up like this. FromSoft's IP, they're just the publisher. So, question, right? Does Bandai Namco own the Elden Ring IP? Or does Katakawa? Namco owns Dark Souls. Bandai does. Okay, so essentially we have a situation where Kadokawa owns the talent and Bandai Namco owns the IP and the name. Interesting. If I have that correct, that is interesting. See, that's a messy situation there. That's a messy situation. That's why I really wonder how Sony would make any of that work if they were to really go in and try to do something. But I'm sure they could. I'm sure they could make something work. Like, would Kadokawa be willing to sell From Software? Like, just that studio? Like, would they be willing, if Sony were to come and be like, we'll pay you $2 billion. First of all, how much do you guys think From Software as a studio, just as a studio, how much do you think they're worth? Because I'll tell you right now, Sony bought all of Bungie for $3.6 billion. I think FromSoft is worth more than that, bro. Maybe I'm biased here, but somebody says 5 million, 600 million. Dude, this is what I need to understand. Sony got Insomniac Games for like a couple $100 million, for like 289 million or something like that. Insomniac, bro. But Bungie for 3.6 billion? That makes me think Sony definitely overpaid. Think about that. Because I'll tell you right now, in my eyes, Insomniac is worth way more than Bungie. Way more, in my eyes. So, I don't know, man. That's crazy. So, I'm just saying, if Sony were to come out and be like, yo, we bought From Software for $4 billion, I'd be like, good. That's great. Totally worth it. No price is too high for From Software. That's how I would feel. Darkborn, you're saying, I read that one for already. Willie, thank you so much for the $1, buddy. Willie, again, you're saying, why do you want Sony to buy From Software? I'm an Xbox guy, and I don't want Xbox to buy any more third-party studios. Is it a revenge thing? Actually, I want to make this clear, Willie. I want to make this clear. I don't want Sony to buy From Software, excuse me, just because, I want their games exclusive. No. If Sony were to buy From Software and let's just say Elden Ring 2, right? Years from now. If they wanted to keep that multi-plat, dude, I'm totally cool with that. And but if Sony were to acquire From Software, it's mainly just because I don't know, man. I just feel like From Software would benefit tremendously being part of the inner circle of PlayStation Studios. And I also feel like other PlayStation studios would benefit greatly from that. Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what else Kadokawa, like, how does Kadokawa own From Software? What other development studios do they own? Because I'm just like over here thinking, like, how the hell did they get From Software? You know? So, the only thing I would expect if Sony were to buy From Software is for Sony to basically make it a mandate for From Software to basically develop another exclusive game for them, or a few. Like, if From Software was acquired by Sony and then Sony was like, oh yeah, Elden Ring and all their previous games are going to remain multi-platform, but any games going forward, if they wanted to make those exclusive, I think that would be fair. It's not revenge. It's just like, look, I'm just going to be real right now, dude. If Microsoft can go out there, buy all of Bethesda to then say all future Bethesda games are now going to be exclusive and not coming to PlayStation, then I'm just going to say, dude, like, go ahead, man. If you get From Software, go ahead, make all their future games exclusive. I'm just saying I think it would be fair, but I'd be totally cool if they didn't, if they left the multi-platform. I just think From Software, they're just one of the most talented development studios, and I feel like they should just be underneath, in my opinion, the same roof as, like, the most talented development teams in the world. Maybe that's a weird outlook for some people, but that's how I see it. Saying, bro, you don't realize Sony was going to buy Fox for $70 billion until Disney outbid them. I think that's wrong, bro. I don't know if that's correct. 70 billion. I don't see Sony buying anybody for 70 billion. You have it backwards. From Software thinks Sony undervalues them, but we will see. From is backed by old money from the East. I hope Sony doesn't undervalue them, man. There's no way. I feel like Sony did undervalue them back in the day with Demon Souls, and I think Sony learned real quick, oh shit, you know? Like, we really shit the bed on that one. Let me see. Oh, all right, let me get to Ronnie Savage. You're saying CD Projekt Red. So the thing about Sony buying CD Projekt Red, because I've seen quite a few people say that Sony's going to get CD Projekt Red. I'm not convinced of that at all. I will say, if you look at the success of the Witcher TV series, and you look at what Sony did with Bungie, where it's like that acquisition with Bungie was not just about the games, but about the movies, the universe, the TV shows, the transmedia stuff. I don't know, man. I could kind of see why that would be a little bit more appealing to Sony, knowing that they already have a very, very successful TV show, and Sony's very interested in stuff like that at this moment in time. I will also say, if they bought CD Projekt Red, I would be my mindset towards it would be, well, they'll never be able to release a broken game again. Good job, Sony. You made sure that CD Projekt Red, when we get Cyberpunk 2078 or something, you're saying Netflix owns the rights for Witcher? Okay, all right. Then if that's the case, never mind. That negates what I just said. That actually makes more sense now. Yeah, so, and that I don't know. Does CD Projekt Red, I don't even think do they own The Witcher? Do they own the rights to The Witcher in general? You're saying Witcher 4 exclusivity would be as big as GTA? It would be pretty big. I don't know, man. I've said it, man. I said that Sony, one of the reasons why they would maybe actually consider getting CD Projekt Red, you're saying they don't? Okay. They just own the video game rights. Okay. Man, this stuff is complicated and confusing, but that does make sense. Because I was going to say, wait, how can Netflix own the rights to the Witcher series, the TV show, if, you know what I'm saying? But that makes sense. So I did say before, and I'll say it again, that if Sony were to actually go after CD Projekt Red, one of the reasons why I could see that being a possibility is CD Projekt Red, you got to admit, for as shitty as Cyberpunk was when it first launched, apparently it's really good now on PS5. I don't know. I have to look more into it, but apparently it's good. It's like what it should have been. There's no doubt that they have talent. They just have a complete inability to manage their games and the development of their games, but they have talent. They proved that with The Witcher. If Sony were to get that exclusively for PlayStation, that would suddenly, it's like, well, that seems to be Sony's answer for Bethesda, right? Like everybody, I'm telling you, when Microsoft acquired Bethesda and we basically found out that the Elder Scrolls 6, Starfield, games like that, they're, Fallout, whatever, they're not coming to PlayStation anymore. Suddenly it's looking like, well, now Sony will have some of the biggest RPGs that release ever for gaming. And I will say, Sony could even turn it into a big win. I mean, it would be kind of a backhand. It would be a backhand to CD Projekt Red, but let's face it, if CD Projekt Red was acquired, there'd be a lot of shit talking where it's like, CD Projekt Red sucks. Like, they only release broken games. But then Sony could be like, no, not under our watch. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, that'd be a direct slap to the face to CD Projekt Red, but maybe that's a necessary one. I'm just saying, it would be an effective way to kind of fill those gaps that people are now asking, what's Sony's answer to the Elder Scrolls 6 when that eventually comes out in 2032? What is their answer to Starfield when that comes out at the end of this year, assuming it's going to be really good? Maybe that's it. It's just food for thought. You know what I mean? Just something to think about. Except that runs contradictory to what Sony is all about. Yeah, that is true. But I don't know, man. I know when we talk about what Sony is all about, come on, like, let's face the music here. Let's face the music here, guys. Bungie was not an organic acquisition. It just wasn't, bro. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I know that there's a deep history with Destiny and Bungie and Sony, but I'll put it to you this way. I wouldn't believe you if you were to say Sony was going to acquire Bungie no matter what. I don't believe that. I think that Sony purposely acquired Bungie due to the consolidation of the industry. I mean, there's no doubt that there's a history with Bungie. I mean, come on, people forget. Bungie literally helped Sony develop the DualShock 4 to make it better for shooting games. So there's definitely a close relationship and history there. The marketing rights to Destiny, the whole 9 yards. But I cannot sit here and say that is like completely organic. I firmly believe that. Well, then again, I don't know though. It depends on if you believe Sony's reasoning. If Sony says, dude, we were planning on making service games regardless of what Microsoft or anybody else is acquiring, and that's why we bought Bungie for our service games, that I will admit that comes off as I don't know though, man. Sony pretty much admits themselves that's why we bought them. That's not really organic. What Bungie did with Destiny is organic. By that I mean Bungie had to organically figure out how do we make one of the best live service games in the history of gaming. And that didn't come easy. They had blood, sweat, and tears. Mistakes were made. And Sony basically was like, we want to avoid that. We don't want to have to go through all that. So we're going to buy your knowledge. We're going to buy your talent. We're going to acquire that so you can help us avoid all that. That's not really how Sony operates, dude. If you think about it, Sony does it the other way. Sony learns the hard way more often than not. They don't usually find that way around. They don't find that detour. And in this case, they did. So I can't say Bungie was completely organic. It wasn't. But that's and I think if anything, Bungie does represent that Sony. Somebody says, "Hey, Sony would never acquire CD Projekt Red because that's totally against what they're about." I don't know, man. If you would have told me a while, like a week ago, not a week ago, 6 months ago, that Sony's going to acquire Bungie, I would have said, "Yeah, I don't think so." And here we are. Just like if you were to tell me there's no way. You're saying there's no such thing as an organic acquisition. Yeah, that's true. I guess what people mean by organic is like something that's not as forced. Like it just doesn't seem as forced, So let me see. Josh, you're saying unless it's 2 hours, PSVR 2 will need its own event. Yeah, I agree with that as well, actually. I'm interested to see how Sony handles that. If they're going to give it its own event or if they're going to separate it. Brandon Chad Perez, you're saying you see MBG, Ubisoft is pro NFT, so nobody cares about them. Dude, you know what? That's one reason right there why I would love to see Sony acquire Ubisoft so they could shut that bullshit NFT stuff down. God, man, leave it to Ubisoft to piss off their own developers because they're like, yeah, we're NFTs are great. You guys just don't understand. And the developers are like, F you, man, this sucks. And they're like, how about we give you some NFTs and then you'll get it? Like, what the hell is wrong with the people there at Ubisoft? Like, what are you doing, man? That's just sad. Their management is horrible. Yeah, dude, that's the thing, man. Is it seems like these companies. That's what's fascinating to me about this whole consolidation thing is management. It seems like we're beyond a point where it's not just about talent anymore. It's about the management of that talent. It's not just about creativity anymore. It's about the management of that creativity. It's not just about the IP or what it is you're making. It seems like now more than ever, if you don't have your management locked down, like and on point, it's gonna suck. Like I think CD Projekt Red is a great example of like, dude, the passion is there, bro. The ambition is there. Even the talent is there. But the management was so piss poor, it ruined it all. It ruined it all. And I think that that's something Sony, frankly, doesn't get enough credit for, where it's like, look at their studios, look at their teams, look at the way they're managed. You know, that's something that I think people need to understand, that Insomniac tried to get away from Sony, man, because they wanted to go out there and be like, you know, let's go see what it's like to work with Microsoft. Let's go make our own games without Sony, whatever. I think they even worked with EA at one point, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they did. And in the end, you know, they just were like, dude, we're going back to Sony, man, because we like the way they do things. I'm just saying, I think there's a very good reason why Sony was able to acquire Insomniac for such a steal. And I think a big part of that is because, you know, you ever see that meme of Dr. Evil where it's like, you know, come on, come back. Come on, come back. I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Insomniac Games and Sony. Pretty sure. So I think there's something to be said for that. My cat's meowing. She wants to get out, so I'm probably going to have to let her out. I don't know if you guys can hear. She's just over there meowing at my door. All right, give me a minute. Saying CD Projekt Red can easily make 2 games. They had like 1,115 people. Really? I didn't know they were that big. Jeez. Anthony, you're saying Sony doesn't need Ubisoft. Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, etc. All are already better versions of Ubisoft games. Microsoft will fight that battle. Sony needs to get devs in the West and publishers in Japan. Yeah, I do agree. That's why it would be just so difficult for me to be excited about Ubisoft. You know, like, oh, Sony acquired Ubisoft. I'd be like, yeah, I think, right? Like, I would feel like, is that really the best move to make? I don't really play Ubisoft games, frankly, at least not that. I rarely do at this point. So it wouldn't really make a difference to me. The Cape Crusader, member for 12 months. Greatness awaits. Thank you, buddy. You're saying joined late because I'm busy playing Horizon Forbidden West, the most beautiful / detailed game I've ever played. And yes, in 60 FPS too. Amazing story so far. Well, I'm happy to hear that, man. I've been hearing a lot of people letting me know. How much they're really enjoying Horizon. So it's been a long time coming, man. I've been saying it, and I'm glad to see that people are enjoying it. I imagine Gorilla's feeling pretty proud too. Space D. It's worth noting. I just want to say it's worth noting that Horizon Forbidden West was also a pandemic game here. Okay, you know, because I saw games like Battlefield 2042 and others, you know, where they blame the fact that, oh, it's CV and everything that's going on. And I get it's a valid excuse. I'm not saying it's not. But I'm just saying, like, this is why I'm, you know, oh, what? So Horizon has a few pop-in bugs that'll get ironed out. Okay. Like, dude, come on. They were trying to get this game out in 2021 in the thick of it. Got to give them credit. They delivered a pretty awesome product here, all things considered. I mean, even then, it's still well beyond most other games, you know? And I mean, a lot of people are basically saying to them, this is a 10 out of 10. I'm like, yeah, dude. I saw that. Battlefield 2042 blamed Halo. I gotta look into that. I saw another report that said that they then denied it though, and I'm like, well, yikes, man, yikes. that's bad. When you gotta blame Halo for your game sucking so bad, like what you're doing something really effing wrong. DICE is a I'm just gonna be real right now. Everything I've been hearing about DICE and Battlefield 2042, absolute dumpster fire, bro. This is why, like, people who talk about how bad Halo, or not how bad Halo is, but you know how PlayStation fans can get something like Halo is garbage. I'm like, bro, have you seen Battlefield 2042 lately? Now that is a dumpster fire. Jesus, I feel sorry, honestly, because I'm like, dude, the reveal of Battlefield 2042, people were so hyped, and you talk about just crashing and burning, bro. Oh, it got so bad. I saw reports that former DICE developers were calling out DICE, being like, what are you doing? And I'm like, That's sad, man. As somebody who played, I played a lot of Battlefield games in the past, thinking back to, memories of Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, even Battlefield 1, to see what has happened. It's like, that's just sad, dude. That's sad. Talk about being a shell of your former self. Moment of silence. Moment of silence for Battlefield. All right. Just had to take that, left turn real quick. You're saying Battlefield should have had a campaign mode. Probably would have helped. Probably, that's the worst part, bro. That was a multiplayer only game. All right. Space D again. You're saying Bandai likes publishing a lot of third-party IPs. Yeah, that's true. They do. That makes more sense why they would own so much IP. Not necessarily the talent. iSiler18, you're saying Katakawa is the head of the snake. From Software is a subsidiary, and so is Namco, but Namco outranks From Software. Wait. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. You need to buy Namco if Katakawa allows it to own all the games. Yeah, I don't know. That makes sense, but it still sounds pretty complicated. I don't want to jump to any conclusions that Sony is doing anything here with Bandai Namco or with Katakawa, but I'll ask the chat. I'll ask you guys. I said earlier that to me it seems totally reasonable, like 100%. I honestly even expected that that Sony is going to try to get another exclusive game out of From Software, which would mean that they wouldn't have to acquire them or anything. It's just a partnership with them and whatever. Let me ask you, do you think it would make sense? Like, do you think it's actually likely that Sony would try to make a play for Katakawa and maybe Bandai Namco in an attempt to secure From Software, secure that IP? Like what if we see a situation at some point where Sony owns the Dark Souls IP? What if they did go for Bandai Namco, man? And then they own Dark Souls, they own a lot of people were saying that it could benefit their anime division and whatnot. A lot of you guys saying you don't think so. Tekken, well, yeah, a lot of people are saying one of the advantages of getting Bandai Namco is, Sony's investment in esports, Evo, competition, games like Tekken. That's true. That is true. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't know, man. I don't see it, frankly. I don't actually see it, but what if Miyazaki dies, the studio becomes useless? Oh God. I've been podcasting for too long, bro. We have truly gone hollow at this point, huh? What if Miyazaki dies? Bro, you can tell who said that. That was great. HMamSB says, what if Miyazaki dies? You can tell this guy is going totally hollow waiting for Elden Ring. I saw a tweet where somebody highlighted, I think it was the Elden Ring subreddit, where somebody literally put a post where they're like, do you guys ever worry that you're going to die before Elden Ring comes out? Like, I'm genuinely afraid of that happening, Like, my heart was racing the other day and I thought, oh no, not yet, not before Elden Ring. And I'm just like, dude, people need to chill out. It's pretty funny, though. It's pretty funny. Fabrice, you're saying, look at what Xbox did for Undead Labs. Nobody believed in them, and they gave them a new studio in Florida. Like Ninja Theory and Playground, Bethesda have many new people. Microsoft grow their studios. No, I agree. Like, dude, I know that people think like I despise Xbox. I don't despise them. I really don't. Like, I believe that. Like, I'm not totally behind Xbox because I have to see it to believe it with them. But that's what you just pointed out, dude. Undead Labs, them giving them a bigger studio, a bigger budget, more production value, making it so State of Decay 3 can be something not just good, but something awesome. Dude, I'm all about that. But I got to see it first. I'm not saying that Microsoft isn't growing their studios. Obviously they are. They're dumping a lot of money into them, but we have to see if it adds up to something in the end. And, hopefully it will. Hopefully it will. So I want to see some State of Decay 3. I want to see some more Hellblade. Darkborn, you're saying Capcom makes the most sense, as the guy who's in charge of Sony movies said to expect more gaming acquisitions, and he just did the Monster Hunter and Resident Evil reboot. Maybe he knows. It's possible, man. Like that's the tough part about all this acquisition talk, is that, you know, people were saying that Sony would never tease an acquisition, and I'm like, well, it depends on what you count as a tease of an acquisition. You know, it depends on what you would count as it. But I agree, like that's the big red flag here that we have to identify with this entire conversation, is that no one knows right now. No one knows. I think we just learned that apparently, and this was kind of weird, apparently Phil Spencer got in touch with Activision Blizzard to discuss possible acquisition talks. Literally the day after their that big scoop on them was published on Activision, basically saying like they're a horrific company, like they're a terrible company. And then I think it was literally the next day, which was in November. I think it was mid-November. And so, you know, you can kind of get an idea of when these things can start and how quickly they can actually end, right? So if Microsoft got in contact with Activision, like mid-November, so they announced the acquisition in the beginning of January. So that was very, very, very quick. That's what I'm saying. You know, you never know with these things. You never know how quickly these things can be done. For Sony, it was a lot longer, which is interesting. For Sony and Bungie, apparently that was like 5 to 6 months. But it just goes to show that if Sony wants to lock in something in 45 days, it can happen. It can happen. You know, Microsoft did it with Activision. Sony can do it with somebody too. So, let me see. But yeah, Capcom would be interesting. I think Capcom would make sense for Sony to an extent. But Capcom, I'm still not so sure about. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that Sony would feel the need to have to bring on Capcom. You know, I'm not sure. I to be honest, guys, I genuinely can't read what Sony's next move will actually be when it comes to acquisitions. I genuinely can't read it. I have my suspicions, but I have, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know. I have no clue. Gatsu, you're saying the only one answer is the Elder Scrolls 6, or the only answer to the Elder Scrolls 6 is GTA 6. I mean, look, I've said it before, and I will say it again. Hit that like button. No, guys, hit the like button to help it out. We're at 700 likes. Can we get to 800 likes before the time this podcast is over? Probably not, but I will encourage it. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If Sony can secure the marketing rights, not exclusivity, not timed exclusivity, just the marketing rights for GTA 6, that is huge. That would be absolutely huge for Sony. So, I don't think it's necessarily enough to compete with Elder Scrolls 6. I don't know, is it? If Sony had the marketing rights to GTA 6 and they could create like a GTA 6 PS5 bundle, and they could just always slap the PlayStation logo all over GTA 6 marketing, which will be the most viewed marketing ever. Is that bigger than Elder Scrolls 6 exclusivity? I don't know. But I will say that it will certainly go a long way in competing to an extent, because I don't know, man. Believe it or not, GTA 6 is one of those games that's, you talk about a game that's going to appeal to the mainstream, to the casual, to the person who doesn't tune in to podcasts like this or read gaming news, and they see PlayStation just slathered all over GTA 6 and its marketing. The average person, believe it or not, is going to assume, I'm going to need to get a PlayStation to play this. I'm just saying. That's what the average person is going to assume when they see that marketing. So, let me see. So Rashdom V2, you're saying, I know it's getting drowned out by February games, but people are sleeping on The Witch Queen next week. It's already over 1 million pre-orders. I'm personally hyped. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm not a Destiny player, so I really can't, you know, I can't say that I'm excited for it or I even know anything about it, but I know that Destiny players are excited for it, and you're right. Like, people probably at this point in time are sleeping on it because, something like that releasing at this time, it's going to be fighting for attention for sure. iSiler18, you're saying Katakawa is a huge anime distributor and Sony bought Funimation, Aniplex, and Crunchyroll. It makes sense for Sony. Yeah, that a lot of people have said that about Katakawa. A lot of people have said that this would be, outside of From Software, this would be another reason why Sony would actually, as a company, want to consider acquiring Katakawa. I'm like, yeah, that they do care a lot about that. So, Echoes93 saying, what's up with Horizon Forbidden West review bombs? Well, we talked about that earlier. I'm not going to get into that again. But MEG, imagine Jim Ryan with a GTA 6 tattoo on his arm. Yeah, bro. I want to see that. I want to see Jim Ryan come out on stage and be like, I got my GTA 6 tattoo because we want to let you know we're serious about this. But yeah, we already talked about the review bombs, man. You'll have to come back and watch the podcast once it's up. Lewis, you're saying BioWare is the best Western RPG studio. I don't know about that, man. I don't know how many people would agree with that at this point. I think BioWare has something to prove now. I think they have to earn back their reputation. I could be wrong about that. I don't really play BioWare games very often, or pretty much at all, now that I'm thinking about it. So I know the reputation they have, but I know that they've squandered a lot of it. And I think that they would... Yeah, somebody says BioWare lost the magic. Their upcoming games, like Dragon Age 4, I think, they're really going to have a lot to prove. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Again, another studio that's just not really what they used to be. All right, let me see here what other topics I have. Okay, so this is something that I do think is worth talking about for at least a few minutes. Well, I'll ask you guys first. We could talk about the Uncharted movie and how apparently it's actually a pretty big box office success. Or we could talk more about Sifu, and I can give like my final review of Sifu. Although I don't know how much more I could say about Sifu. I feel like I already talked about Sifu enough. But I could talk about it more if you want. I just want to see what you guys... I see 2 people so far voting for Sifu. I just don't know if there's really much interest in the Uncharted movie. We can talk about both, but... somebody just says no. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Uncharted was terrible. Skip. The question I have with Uncharted, because like I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, it's not good." But like, if it's a box office success, what does that mean for Sony? All right, a lot of people are saying Sifu, so I will talk more about Sifu. Well, now I'm seeing more Uncharted. All right, we'll talk about both. Don't worry, we'll talk about both. Please talk about performance mode on Horizon Forbidden West. Bro, you're a little bit late. I'm over 3.5 hours into this podcast. We definitely talked about that. All right, I'll talk about Sifu first, and then we'll talk about Uncharted. So with Sifu, for those who are not aware, and again, I'm not saying it to brag about it again, but just for those who are not aware, I did get the platinum for Sifu. Okay, and I want to tell you, it's really interesting the timing of me getting this platinum because there were quite a few conversations happening about the difficulty of Sifu, and we know that they are adding difficulty options. Now, I remember saying about a week ago that I wanted to get the platinum. I hoped to get the platinum, but I was a little bit fearful that I was going to have to maybe wait for the easier difficulty to actually get that. My controller survived? Yeah, it did. So the reason why the Sifu Platinum is difficult, I'll explain it to those who maybe aren't aware. There's 5 levels in Sifu, and there are 5 bosses. And each boss in each level gets incrementally harder. And the last boss is obviously the hardest. And in my opinion, takes the longest to actually learn and master. But the way the aging mechanic works is you start out at age 20. If you die, you age to 21 because that's one death. If you die again, you then have 2 deaths, which means you will now age to 23. And then if you die again, you have 3 deaths, so you're going to be 26. And it just kind of keeps compounding, you know what I mean? So the more you die, the more you're going to age. And so the trophy to get the platinum is you have to beat the game without aging past age 25. So you pretty much have 2 deaths, maybe 3 max. And it can become a little bit complicated because if you die, so let's say you're fighting a boss and you die one time fighting that boss. So you age from 20 to 21. If you beat that boss without dying again, your age or your death counter resets to 0. So what this means when your death counter resets to 0 is that if you die again, like in the next level, you will age from 21 to 22. You see what I'm saying? So you have to strike a really strict balance of, first of all, not dying and dying pretty much as little as you possibly can, and always keeping your death counter at 0. And the way the game works, so it's not like you have to beat the game in one single playthrough. Okay, I want to make it clear that it's the game expects you to master each level. So level 1, when I first played it, I struggled. Like I almost died and got, aged out at like age 75 and died before I beat the first boss. So I sucked, I was like, this is not how you're supposed to. It's expected for you to suck at first, but the idea is you need to go from I died like 8 times or 9 times to complete this level. But I now have to master this level to where I must die 0 times. You see what I'm saying? So it just forces you to master every single aspect of that level. And, you have to approach each level with that mentality. And that's what the game demands. So in order to get this trophy, you have to master each level. You cannot, let me, there's a little caveat here. It's not just the level so much. You have to master each boss battle. That's really the point I need to get at here, because there are shortcuts. You go through the level one time and then you unlock a shortcut that will make it easier to get directly to the boss. Some levels make it so you can just go directly to the boss. Some levels make it so you only have to fight a couple of enemies and then you get to the boss. So that's important to understand as well. It's not like the game demands you to literally each time you want to face a boss, you have to go through the entirety of the level. That would be torturous to many people. And that probably would have stopped me from actually getting the platinum. And so for me, the biggest challenge with Sifu and actually making this happen was I got through level 1 at age 20 and I didn't die once. Level 2 with Sean is a pretty tough boss battle. I died, I think, once. I died once against Sean. So I aged up to 21, but I was able to keep my death counter at 0. When I got to level 3, it was a little bit challenging, but I was able to beat level 3, boss 3 without dying once. Took me a couple tries, well, more than a couple tries. Took me a while. But by that point, so I've aged to 21. By boss, I don't know why. Boss 4 is like the easiest boss in terms of actually beating the boss. I forget her name, but boss number 4 is the easiest boss to beat. But I had the most struggle in not dying when trying to beat her. Like I couldn't master her pattern to the point where I kept getting messed up. And so I ended up, the best I could do, yeah, boss 4 is the easiest, but for me has the most unpredictable patterns for some reason. I just struggled with her. But the best I was able to achieve is I made it to boss 5 or level 5 at age 23 with 0 death with a 0 death counter. So what this meant, and this is where I was like stressing, because I'm like, okay, the only way I'm going to get this trophy is I either go back and I master every single boss to the point where I get 0 deaths, or I try to beat the 5th boss, which is the hardest boss, by pretty much, I can only die 2 times. Maybe even once. But I think it was 2 times. So that was hard, man. Like, I had to just keep going at this 5th boss, and the 5th boss is really tough. Yang. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not going to spoil anything. I did get, in order to get the platinum, you have to get the secret ending. I'm not spoiling anything. But Yang is the 5th boss, and he is, at first, dude, he is brutally tough. Like, he is easily the hardest boss, as he should be. But once you, like, I had to get to a point where I knew every single move he's going to do. Like, and it's crazy, because I remember when I first started facing this boss, I'm like, I can't even touch this dude. But I just kept doing it to a point where I now know every move before he's even doing it. Like, and I'm the boss now, and that's pretty much how it happened, man. And yeah, dude, it was just so awesome. And I really am talking so passionately about this game because it's just it's a rare thing with anything, but playing games. Did I spare any of them? Oh, I spared all of them. Yes. That's how you get the secret ending. Did the permanent unlocks help you? They did, but not as much as you would think. Like, if you're somebody who's struggling with Sifu and you think if you just grind the game and get every permanent unlock, it'll definitely help and definitely improve your chances. But you definitely, it won't, you can't use it as a crutch, is what I'm trying to say. It won't make it so that you suddenly don't have to master the mechanics. You cannot get through this game without mastering the mechanics. And the final boss, Yang, putting the platinum aside, you do have to get really good at the game to beat him. You do. And there's only, the first time I beat him, I barely did. Dude, I had no health. I was like age 77. And I think I beat him my first time, just like one lucky hit. And I was like, oh my God, I was like shaking. Like, how did I do that? Like, I can't believe I did it. But I'm just putting so much emphasis on this game, Sifu, and why it was so awesome to me, because it's just such a fascinating thing. I want to give a ton of credit to Slow Clap. And this is why I think it's totally fine that they're putting difficulty settings in, but man, they did it right. I'm going to tell you right now, Slow Clap absolutely nailed the design of this game the way it is right now, because I went in feeling like I suck, I'm not getting this platinum, and I'm getting my ass handed to me, and there's no way I'm going to master this game, to where I just kept practicing and practicing, and I did what the game design told me to do. This game is about a martial artist, and it's about mastering something, right? Becoming a martial arts master. And I did that exact thing. I just kept playing it and practicing and going and going and going and going, getting frustrated along the way. But I was just shocked, man. I couldn't believe I got that platinum. I was like, holy shit. 11 days ago, I was convinced, dude, you're not. Good luck. Good luck. Keep dreaming. And I just think that is, in my opinion, a video game teaching you something that can help you pretty much in real life. Like that's like, it's teaching you discipline, practice, keep going, keep getting better, keep improving. And, I felt the same way with Returnal, and I think it's awesome, dude. So, Sifu for me, 10 out of 10, absolutely loved the game, loved every minute of it, highly recommend it. And for anybody who says, any tips, the most important tip I can give you, because, and this is where I'll end it before I talk about Uncharted, the most important tip I can give you, because when I was playing for like the first 3 hours, I didn't know about this, and it just completely wrecked me, is you have to be able to hold L1. You need to learn to hold L1 and use the left stick to dodge and to avoid. you cannot block everything. You know, your structure will be broken, and you cannot just press R2 to, you know, literally move away from everything, because you'll never be able to get close enough to get hits in. You have to learn to master the avoid and the evade. And if you can do that, that is what will get you through this game. That's my biggest tip. That and some persistence. MVG, you describe a beautiful world where the best gamers are the least obnoxious. I want to live there. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I'm not the type of person that can turn to somebody and be like, man, I can't get past this boss on Sifu and be like, get good, bro. You suck. Like, I just can't do that, you know? All right, let me see here. Hold on. All right, so those are my final thoughts for now on Sifu. I was thinking about maybe making a dedicated video on it. I'll have to see about that. And so the final topic we're going to talk about briefly is the Uncharted movie. Magnum Visuals, sorry, buddy. You're saying, I don't think the bobbing and weaving with the L1 in Sifu, it doesn't work well for me. Well, so the thing is, it's hard to master it, because when you hold L1 and you're focused on dodging, it essentially makes it so you have to learn the moveset of the enemies in order to properly dodge them. Because like, if you're like, one of the hardest, and this is the final thing I'll say, just to answer your super chat, one of the hardest things for me to learn, and that took so much time in Sifu, is learning how to effectively and properly time dodging low attacks. So like boss number 2, Sean, his second phase, he does with his staff like a low swing to your feet. And dude, he killed me so many times that way. And it just took me literally focusing harder and harder and more to be like, okay, I got to know when to dodge that attack, because that's the one that's killing me. And once I did, he couldn't touch me. Once I mastered like when to flick the stick up to jump and dodge it, and then just punish him for, you know, his mistake, he couldn't touch me after that. So it's hard. It's definitely not easy. But if you persist, you'll get it. All right, so the Uncharted movie, I don't have too much to say about it. I'm going to see it. All right, I'm going to see the Uncharted movie. I'm morbidly curious, and I will definitely let you guys know whether it's in a video. I probably won't do a dedicated video, because I'm definitely not a movie review channel. But next week on the podcast, I would have seen Uncharted, and I'll let you know what I think of it. But what I find super interesting about the Uncharted movie is it's apparently a pretty significant success box office wise. Like, it's making a lot of money. And what's even more interesting is apparently the demographics are revealing that most of the audience that is watching the Uncharted movie are like younger audiences, like teens and like people in their, you know, early 20s and whatnot. That's really interesting, because what this tells me is that this is very likely, I don't know, for a lot of people, this might be truly their first time being exposed to the Uncharted franchise. And so I'm thinking, and I'm looking at this in a positive way. I'm thinking that what this might signal is that Sony may feel more encouraged to go back to Uncharted at some point for gaming. But you know, because they're obviously going to make a sequel now to the movie. They might have a trilogy, might be more than that. Sully might, you know, Mark Wahlberg might get his own spin-off Sully movie, you know, who knows? I feel like they're probably going to want to do that. MBG, your podcast is so long that I actually platinum Sifu while listening to you. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to end it in a couple minutes here. I am drained, man, but I had fun talking. Obviously, I had fun talking. Siler18, you're saying, should have streamed the last Sifu boss for our entertainment. I don't know, man. Maybe I will do another Sifu stream. See, Sifu is a game that's easier to stream for me because it's just a game that's purely focused on just the gameplay. Like, there's no story I have to pay attention to. You know, it's not a slow-paced game. It's just, to me, I have a much easier time streaming games like that. To where it's like, people want me to stream Horizon, and I can't do it. Like, I just can't do it because I can't focus on the game the way I'm supposed to. I end up missing all the important stuff, you know. It's it doesn't work well with me. But a game like Sifu is very easy for me to stream. So maybe I'll do more Sifu streams in the future. Because I actually didn't stream myself fighting the last boss. But yeah, you know, I guess the final question I'll ask you guys before I end the stream and the podcast is, are you surprised that the Uncharted movie is apparently doing very well? Not reviews-wise, but financially. It's making a ton of money, and it's pretty obvious that it's a success. It's a success for PlayStation Productions. It's a success for Sony. It's a success for Uncharted and Naughty Dog. Are you surprised? Because I am kind of surprised. I thought it was going to bomb, dude. Now, let me ask you this. Are you happy? Are you happy that it's succeeding? Like, did you want it to fail? Or are you, like, okay with it succeeding? What if we get another Uncharted game that's a prequel starring, and Tom Holland is starring in the game? How would you feel about that? Think about that. What if we end up getting another Uncharted 5 is a prequel with younger Nathan Drake and Sully, and it's literally Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Could you imagine the uproar from the Uncharted fan base? Oh my god. It would be kind of funny, actually. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for episode 97 of Press X Podcast. Almost a 4-hour episode. I did not really mean to go on for this long, but apparently I had a lot to say today. And so, mustacheless Sully. I just want to give a very big thank you to everybody who tuned in, whether you were tuning in for the whole time or, you know, for different chunks. Do me one last big favor. Before you head out, to celebrate a nearly 4-hour podcast, please hit that like button. I think it would be awesome if we could somehow get to 800 likes before the podcast ends. But if you're somebody who's watching after the fact, thank you as well. A big shout out to all of my members. I got to do my quick member read. So let me do that real quick. Big shout out to Junior Jackson, Josh Z, Agile Ice 24, Skin Tight Salmon, PlayStation Pete, RU46 N2 Ray, Icyler 18, Whiskey Gaming, Chlorian A, Chris B, Hidden Leaf Tutaka, Morgan Anstein, Nakamichi, Rune Yasodin, Black Waifus, Ryan Butcher, John Renzi, Zanarkan Blitzer, Space Gambler Jr., AJ Saeed, JDTV, Sir Speaks a Lot, Shorty Faye, Big Norman 0518, Shaky Shako, Tyson Webb 509, Black Manta 1989, Sane JT, Brandon Chad Perez, Adrian Lupton, Introvert Gaming Dude, and Kevin Kahan. Thank you guys so much for the direct support on a monthly basis here on the channel. And a massive thank you to every single person who donated a super chat during the stream. As I tell you guys, you are the backbone alongside my members of the channel, and I always appreciate it. But yeah, we will see what the upcoming week brings. I don't know what to expect news-wise. Obviously, I'll keep you guys updated with regular content here on the channel, and at this point in time, I really have no clue what it is we'll be talking about this time next week. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to it, and that's episode 97 in the book. So I'm going to go now, guys. Thank you, and until next time, take care.